and welcome to Superhero Speak.
Oh, we're live.
Dave.
Oh, God. And John. Hi.
I'm JD. I've done this before, so I'm ready to go.
I'm 8-Bit Ray, and I'm here.
Yes.
Yes, you are
so here. We are at our first ever live broadcast. Well, let me correct that. This actually isn't our first live.
Did you tweet out the link so that we can share this with our followers to the live link? Like, we got to do that.
Well, I sent out a video on all the platforms that we were going live at 8:30.
Oh, okay.
It was scheduled on our YouTube, so yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure.
You can.
So we should be able to like use that link for other things. Yes, this is like very first time you can tell because we're still figuring out the technical details.
All right. Well, so
no one's
years
listening.
ago, we did a live. We used to do a live show called Agent of Speak that we would do live after Agents of Shield.
But we were old and we got tired really quick.
Yeah. So once they changed the show to air at 10, I think it was, or no, 9.
Yeah.
10 was too late for us to stay and do it, or maybe it was the other way around. But still, it was just like, so we stopped doing that. But that was also back with, what was it, Google Hangouts.
Oh my God, we are live. Look at that.
I know. I just
It
shared it.
works.
It does work.
So, wow, we're babbling here.
What we do?
Welcome to Superhero Speak.
What do you think we've been doing for the last 8 years? I mean, 9
Yeah,
years.
that's true. But so that was the thing. Like JD and I talked about this off air that we should start doing a live stream. So yeah, we're going to be doing this for 2023 going forward. I will have to work on my lighting because I am so washed out compared to everyone else.
I have good lighting. I'm a professional.
I am the Darkman.
Yes,
I've got
Ray is-
okay lighting.
You're fine, John. You're fine.
Ray looks like he's in the romantic setting.
This is usually my Twitch setup. This is how people see me usually.
Ray looks like Colonel Kurtz in
That's-
Apocalypse Now.
Thank you.
You look like Todd in the Shadows, actually, and that's the whole aesthetic. So
Mine was
it
better.
kind of works.
Y'all are gonna make me turn on the light. John's got the mood lighting over there.
Well, I can turn it up or down from my phone. So
Wow.
The
there we
end.
go. And I can do this.
My
So
old
that's a little bit washed out. There you go.
friend, the
People
end.
should also know that this doesn't mean that the audio is going away. We will still be publishing that Wednesday on all the audio formats, but
For those of us that are offended by our faces.
I'm offended by your face.
So am
we
I.
will be. This obviously is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and it will remain there after we are done in the archive, and you guys can go back and watch whenever you would like. So,
Or don't. Whatever.
yeah.
You know,
That
Jack-
being said,
John, you're not the only one with fancy lighting. Look at this. Rave it.
Nice.
Yeah. I got one of those too.
so how's everyone doing? Ray, how are you? What is new in your life?
I'm perfectly fine. I survived the holidays, and then I survived the new year, and now it's where are we in? February, March?
We're not
Yeah,
quite in
all right.
February. It's January 22nd.
Feels like it. It feels like I'm 38 already. It feels like we're in February.
38. Ah, I remember those days.
You remember
Like just been
1938?
invented. Yes.
That was 10 years ago for me.
John remembers the smell of the Great Depression.
I used to tie an onion to my belt buckle.
That was
which
way after
the
30.
style at the time.
Yes.
We had just discovered loincloths.
Oh my god. So you
And it was a
survived
new
Christmas.
world for John, baby. Got that loincloth on. Comfort and availability.
So you survived Christmas. Anything new? What's going on with the Gorillabrain?
Gorillabrain it's in hiatus right now. I'm still in imposter syndrome, like you guys stated last time. So I'm still mentally trying to break through that. But
Yeah.
I'm monetized on Twitch. I can officially take all your money. And,
Oh, nice.
I am officially monetized as a TikTok ambassador. I can take your money there too.
Cool.
Give me your money. That's the whole point.
Every 6 weeks, I think I'm going to try TikTok. And then I talk to Ray a little bit to get advice. And I look at TikTok and I just get so overwhelmed that I'm like, I can't do this. And then I run away screaming.
13-year-old children can do it, JD.
Everyone in my school does it. I walk the hallways. All kids are doing are TikToks in the hallways. I
Yep.
look at it and I go, "Wah!" and I have to run.
They can also do screen printing. I don't know if you know that. They sell it at Five Below, Hobby Lobby.
They do not have the emulsion that I needed to complete my screen printing. I had to order that at Amazon.
Ooh.
I will also say that we are not on TikTok because A, we don't have a TikTok, and B, I don't think you can stream on TikTok with StreamYard yet.
You need 1,000 followers and to go live on TikTok. But there's ways around it. It looks beautiful.
From what I've heard, though, that's easy on TikTok, though. Like,
It really
it's really
is.
easy to.
But don't ever use their software because it's garbage.
Okay.
It will eat up your CPU and your GPU and kill your computer. It's so awful.
Yeah.
And I have a decent computer. Like I run OBS no problemo, but I run their crappy software, and it's like my computer is just like it's terrible.
We need to get John streaming, doing flossing on TikTok.
Yes, that's what we need.
God, nobody wants that.
We do.
That'll be the first time they've ever had negative views.
John would actually be flossing on TikTok.
Yeah.
Old man O'Grady.
Can we
cleaning
get-
those teeth?
I remember when that was invented.
So how are you, old man O'Grady? What's new with you since last week?
He switched bourbons.
We're on the downside now.
We're on the
that last-
downside?
Yeah,
Of-
of that
of-
last date. So, yeah,
I knew
we're on
it.
the downside now.
Do you sabotage them on purpose?
I think
Yeah, that's
No, I look, dude. When a date ends with a woman kissing you and then you never hear from her again, I have no idea.
You'd hear
Call
from
that a
her again.
success.
You would hear from her again if she kissed the right part of you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, sorry, gentlemen.
And we're canceled.
Thank you. And normally I wouldn't kiss and tell except that she walked. So and I'm not going to say who she is. So, 'cause
But
I-
did she run?
Running would be worse.
Running would be much worse.
Look, I don't know how dating works at my age. It just sucks. That's all I can tell you.
I have a question though.
Or it
right?
doesn't.
You're saying that it's, you haven't heard from her. You've reached out to her, I assume.
Yep,
Oh, okay. And she never
Yeah.
replied. She ghosted
Yes.
you.
Ghosted you.
pretty much.
Huh.
Like
Is she
Thanos
like
to the
your age or
hourglass.
younger?
She was a little bit, only slightly younger than me. Anything near my age is really bad. Like if you get to my age and you're single, you're in for a rough ride. And it's horrible out there. The
Thank
people,
God I'm
everybody
not
out there
single.
is really emotionally damaged. It's hard to find anybody, unless you're an underwear model. It's really hard to find anybody stable.
I am an
And even
underwear
then-
model, and I still have trouble. So
Have you tried Tinder?
Oh God, no.
You're the
Actually,
world.
yes,
You're
I
fine.
have. I did
You
try Tinder.
liar! I knew it. I
It's just,
knew it.
but and you know what? I had a really, really nice date, and I dated a woman for 3 months that I met on Tinder, and then she broke into my house at midnight. And
my
yelled
God,
and
then she was
screamed
on-
at me.
she was
that
from Tinder?
That was the one from Tinder. Yeah. You cannot find anybody stable at my age. I have no. I must not be stable because I'm dating at this age. I guess I don't know. It's just
John,
horrible.
You hang out with us, you're definitely not stable.
This
Every
is
time I
true.
talk to you, I reaffirms. how
John,
happy
this
I'm in my
is-
marriage.
this
Yes, you'll never get divorced now.
Never.
John, this is
They should make me a
sponsored.
counselor.
I'm just throwing this out there. Anime lovers dating app.
Yeah, I've tried some of those dating apps,
Yeah,
but
I've
it's
tried
like the ones
There's
that
8 billion people to choose from.
yeah, sure. Nice. Nice.
That's a callback, people. That's a callback.
That's yeah.
That's for the old heads from
Yes.
2022.
The fans.
Yes,
They've been around for a while.
The fans, yes.
So who else hasn't gone? Somebody else. Move this along.
All right,
You don't need
JD, how
this
are
anymore.
you? What is going on in your world?
More wrestling. We had 3 tournaments in 3 days at the school. It was crazy. Little guy wrestled today, so that was fun. He's having fun. He's doing good. So that's about it. School. Very busy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back to writing, but I need to get through this. I have no free time. Like getting the time to carving out the time to watch one of my favorite movies is difficult. Like it's been tricky. When March comes, life will be a lot easier.
Yeah. Is that when wrestling cools
It'll be when
down?
wrestling ends,
Yeah.
or like the season ends. And it's not as much of a grind. Like it's more of a grind now because like I'm working in the building, so like I get there at like 6:45. I don't go home till like 8:30 on some days.
Ugh.
It's a long day.
A long day.
Yeah.
And
Most likely.
here I am feeling guilty about watching 10 hours of Cheers yesterday.
Never feel bad about watching Cheers, dude. It's one of the greatest sitcoms ever.
10 hours, dude. I got back home at like 11 a.m., right? And then like the sun was gone. And I'm like, wow, it's like 8:30 right now.
Here's just wild. That's the 80s. So that's like 20 hours of television. That's one season.
Yeah, I'm on season 3 now.
Yeah. Well, that's when it starts to change. That's when Woody comes in.
Yeah.
And Frasier comes in. The show starts to shape into what we think of as Cheers. I love Cheers.
We're going to get the Cheers.
Cheers is good. Dave, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Nothing exciting to report except went and saw a movie yesterday. Somebody to dance with. I want to dance with somebody. Sorry, the Whitney Houston. Buyout.
How was that?
It was actually pretty good. You watch those movies nowadays with the eye of like, okay, what's real and what's fake in this? Because like the perfect example is Bohemian Rhapsody. Like a lot of the stuff in that movie was made up, and the band members admitted to it and said, well, we felt it made a better movie. It's like, okay, so then you're not really telling us the truth. You're telling us a good story.
They should have done the Weird Al Yankovic.
I was just going to say, when Weird Al Yankovic walked into Pablo Escobar's compound, I thought, maybe they're stretching the truth on this one just a touch. Medellin.
I feel like everybody is getting a biopic these days. I want a Public Enemy biopic, and I want a 2 Live Crew biopic.
That would be
That's what I really want. Yeah, that's what I really want. We already got the Wu-Tang one on Hulu. That's one.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Who did you say was after
2 Live Crew?
2 Live Crew. Okay. All right. Yeah, because
what did they
sing,
sing, Dave? What did they sing, Dave? What were some of their hits, Dave? Pop that what, Dave?
We're on YouTube now. We got to be careful.
Puss in Boots 2 is really good.
So
close enough.
Can you say that with the new rules on YouTube? I mean, my God.
Pop that Puss in Boots.
Yes, pop your cherry.
But anyway, we saw that because it was that was a movie that was my girlfriend's choice. Since I forced her to see a lot of superhero movies for this podcast, I had to let her get a win in.
Has anyone seen Avatar yet?
Nobody has, but everybody has.
That's what I'm saying. It's like felt like that way last time.
It's on its way to make $2 billion, and none of us.
John, was it popular in like China and Japan? I mean, is that where they made their money? Yeah, I mean, 8 billion people. That's got to add up, right?
Oh, God! In China and Japan, where the big thing is like cat girls, and no, not at all. It's
so everybody saw it in China. That's where it made its money.
Pretty much.
It has to be.
I don't know, man. All I know is everyone's seen this movie, and I don't know anybody that's seen this movie.
Fans on Patrol's seen it, and superhero speak. No, So Wizard. They're the only people I know of that's seen it.
Yeah, they thought
Randy
they did it on the podcast. So.
Yeah, but nobody else is covering it.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I'm not trying to offer that. Usually,
no.
I'm not interested.
I would cover the last Airbender movie before I covered Avatar, and only as a hate watch, really.
Was it bad? The last Avatar movie?
Yes.
Oh my God, yes. It's one of the
M. Night
worst
Shyamalan. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that was a weird fit.
And they took one of the most beloved properties in existence and basically trashed, like just destroyed it. It was just it in my circles. It's as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution, which is also one of the worst adaptions ever to movies.
Well, I'm here this week. We've passed that.
Yeah.
Something new has come along. Velma.
Oh God, yeah.
It beat Dragon Ball Evolution on Rotten Tomatoes.
Because the problem with Scooby-Doo was the talking dog.
Well, also that Velma wasn't just a wordy, like she's just nasty and just evil in this. Like
I think we have to come to accept the fact that Mindy Kaling was really good in The Office and nothing else.
Yeah,
because they gave her lines instead of letting her write it.
Mm-hmm. She's kind of not funny.
She did write a couple episodes of The Office.
Yeah, The Office was. I mean, here's the thing, though. The Office had, by the time she came around, the characters
had a template.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ray. They had a
Yeah.
template, like you knew it worked. The actors at that point know their characters better than any writer could, and you just kind of like let them do their thing. When you're reshaping a beloved property into what you think is great and everybody else disagrees with you and hate watches your show, and you go, "Thanks for watching our show, gotcha." I'm very curious to see what the next 3 weeks look like on that show. To be quite honest with you, I ain't gonna watch it, but I bet those ratings start to plummet. Another amazing move made by Warner Brother Discovery.
Jeez. Yeah, there's
Been a great year.
There's a pitch meeting for it already, and they kind of went the route of, oh no, it wasn't pitch meeting. It was somebody who was doing something like a pitch meeting almost, and they were like, yeah, it's a process. You basically take a beloved property like that, you make a horrible, bad, evil like series of it, so that when you give them something that's more tuned to the original, that everybody's like, oh, this is it, and they go back to that in droves.
Mm-hmm.
So they make all their money. And then
True.
I guess at the end they mentioned like, so you mean nobody's going to watch this after the first 2 episodes? No. And the other guys go, no, everybody will watch it. They'll hate watch it. They won't be able to stop themselves.
I felt that's only true for like one episode. Then people like got better things to do with their time. Nobody hate watches consistently.
Sir, we did the Mint Mobile Marathon. We hate watch the fuck out of some movies.
Yeah, but that's a
Really?
gimmick, and there's only 4 of us. Or 6 of us, depending on the episode.
But actually, getting back to
plot?
what you call it, Avatar. That's a good lead into social media madness.
Is it,
Ooh,
Dave? Is it?
That's a good one.
Nothing is a good lead to social media madness.
Kassan Warren, our good friend, tweeted at us, as you are on the hunt for people who watched the Avatar movie, I'll admit I did.
Oh, good.
Plot is as thin as paper left in the desert, but the visuals were amazing.
The visuals do seem incredible, and that seems to be what Mr. Cameron cares about these days.
Yeah.
I watched it in 3D and IMAX, so I ended up paying a kidney for my family. The kids enjoyed it. If you're going for a story, don't bother. If you want to see what modern movies can do, watch it in 3D IMAX. Okay.
Yeah, these movies are getting really expensive. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's getting ridiculous.
and it's like
I
the
don't.
whole 3D thing is the
It's still a gimmick.
Well, yeah.
All right. And they're using 3D to justify it. So we got our first live comment, guys, from Drew.
Oh,
Oh.
hey, Drew.
From Drew C.
I
hate listen to this show.
Fair. Fair.
That's
Thanks,
fair.
Drew.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get Drew's stream of consciousness stuff in real time.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
See, this is bringing social media madness to a whole new level.
I did not think of that when I had this idea. Now I regret it.
San also said, I also watched The Last of Us on HBO Max. It's great. Excellent adaptation from the game. Nothing feels forced or cheap. Even though I played the game, I was still entertained by the show. I have never played the game. Have you played it, Ray? You're the gamer here.
Which game?
Last of Us.
Yeah, I played the first one.
Oh.
And
I didn't play the second one. I had no interest.
Okay.
I thought
heard
that it
the
was
fir-
I thought that it was a perfect story. At the first game, I thought it was a perfect ending. I didn't need a sequel.
I heard the first one was good, and a lot of people.
First one
didn't
made me
like the
cry.
second one.
Grown ass man crying
A
tears.
video game made you cry?
You feel it as a parent, man.
You,
I don't wanna
yeah,
hear it.
when it's a good storyline.
Yeah, that ending is just like. Just
How do you really
feel it
feel
in your
about
gut? Like it made me cry. I heard the show's good. I haven't checked it out yet. I'll get around to it eventually. After I get through 11 seasons of Cheers.
It's worth it.
I'm sorry, but they don't. Not everybody knows my name on The Last of Us, so I want to go where
Oh, we got another one. Josiah, my buddy. I hate listen to JD all the time. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Even hate read his books. This is revenge. This is revenge for burying me on my Impact recaps. That's true. On our Brace for Impact pod, I use his recaps on the Wrestling Observer and make fun of him because he's my friend. So I appreciate you returning the favor. Good volley, sir.
Brilliant.
Yes, you can put him on the show, Dave.
There
Isn't that
we go,
incredible?
Dave. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
this
about.
is cool.
We're learning as we go.
That's why.
Yes, we
That's why I
are.
missed out on the question. But when you were talking about Last of Us, because I'm like going through the settings, like how can I get these things to pop up on my screen?
Here's what's weird because Dave's still doing old school, reading the social media tweets, and then we're gonna get hopefully in time more and more of the live people telling us that we're stupid. So it's gonna be great.
I
got
got
people calling me an asshole in real time for a change.
Ooh,
Yeah,
maybe
I
that guy,
love-
maybe that guy that made the Twitter to just diss you guys.
To bury me. Let's be specific. What did he call me? An egotist? Something about my egotism.
You were an
I'm a
egotist.
conversational narcissist.
That's
Conversational
what it was.
narcissist.
Quote of the year, boys.
I made it about me again.
is it just me, or is it like after 9 years of doing this podcast, the first time we go live for real, all the comments are like, "Oh, we're hate watching you," like right off the bat too.
It's what I've been suspecting all this time. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about. We talked
Confirmation
recently about
bias.
the Across the Spider-Verse is coming out soon.
Oh, I can't
And,
wait for that one.
The
Neither
reveal
can
of the
my
cast.
kid.
Oh yeah.
Taco
My
Shirt
nephews.
Krillin, we haven't heard from him in a while. He said, I'm stoked to see this version of Miles again, which is by far my favorite. I'm
I agree
also
with that.
excited to see Spider-Man 2099 because he has always been awesome. If you haven't read the original run, definitely give it a try. I have read some of the original books. I think
Peter
I'm on the
David,
first
Rick
5.
Leonardi. Good stuff.
I own
Yeah.
issue 1 with the holographic cover because that's what the '90s were all about: shiny
Hell
covers,
Hell yeah.
big
what a-
bubbly ones.
I think he, I,
Variants.
I think Rick Leonardi gave him the best design of any character in the early, because the early '90s was so like Liefeld-esque in its designs,
Yeah.
and I think the design for the Spider-Man 2099 is really good though, which is why it hasn't really been changed. Like it holds up even 30 years later.
Of all the 2099 series, X-Men, Hulk, Venom even had one.
They were bad.
They were
all of them.
bad. They were awful. Doom 2099. That was
Ravage.
yeah,
2099.
'cause we wanted Ravage 2099, but
Didn't it start out with Spider-Man and then they just
was.
built off from
Yes.
Well, it was 4. It was Spider-Man, Ravage, Doom,
X-Men.
and probably
X-Men.
X-Men.
it was.
Oh, we had a
X-Men.
Ghost. We also had a Ghost Rider 2099.
Yes,
oh,
we
I
did.
remember that one. Yeah.
Trash, all trash, except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man was good.
Yeah. I mean, it was a truly fresh take on it too, I think. So,
Well, it was just a way for them to tell newer stories in
Right.
the futuristic world where there really was no consequence from the previous Marvel universe. So it's its own universe. It's like what was DC's oh shit.
Legion?
Elseworlds.
Oh no.
In a way.
okay.
It's just another universe.
yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Um,
None of it was good. I read a couple of them. I collected Doom 2099. And that was hard to read, man. That was so
Sorry.
90s it hurt. Like that was aimed at my demographic at that age group.
Oh,
And I
ditto.
was not feeling it.
Ditto. Spike said Spider-Man's pretty good. Spider-Man worked.
Spider-Man did work. They put
That-
a lot of love into that.
They did, because it's good. Okay, that's different. That was DC and that's Paul Denis, and it worked. Right? Batman
Mhm, yeah.
Beyond was awesome. And
Mhm.
we were
Yeah.
denied a Batman Beyond movie, and I'm still a little bit.
Yeah, Return of the Joker is a movie.
Did it get a release or was it direct? It was direct to video.
Direct to video, but it's still released.
And it's still good though. Return of the Joker is really good.
It really
It's
is.
one of the best animated movies there is, besides like what is
Mask
it?
of the Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm.
That's
Yeah.
Phantasm's really good too.
And the Mr. Freeze movie was really good. The Catwoman one was a little meh, but
You mean the last one that came out?
yeah.
Yeah.
The Catwoman.
No, it was. Yeah, the writing wasn't really strong in that one.
Not really, no.
so Drew's 3-year-old could not stop giggling. So that's good. Hey, look, this week we don't have to like repeat Drew's comments next week.
We win. It's a victory.
So last week we talked a lot about Ezra Miller.
Why?
And we will be for the next
Because-
couple of weeks.
Because
or
that's what
months.
we do. He does
Miller
something-
does not equal ratings,
Maybe.
guys. I don't know how to break it to you.
People like train wrecks, though.
Yes,
That's
that's
true.
why they like this show. So,
Nice.
He's not
the
lying.
question was, is this going to hurt the performance of the Flash?
No, I don't. Think
Randy
it's gonna.
said, Random Randy Savage from Colt 45 said, hardly. It's clear that Warner Brothers Discovery enjoys having their own version of a bad boy on deck. Next week, they'll plan to announce Kyle Rittenhouse as Batman.
Oh,
To be fair, this
Oh.
week on TNT or on TBS, they premiered Dana White's slap fight
Yeah,
a mere
that's true.
weeks after he was caught on video slapping his wife,
All right.
and
I
they
love
did
it.
not back off on it, and it got 200,000 viewers. a disaster.
I was one of the viewers.
Was it awful?
It was fucking terrible, but it was
That's what I heard.
amazing. It was amazing because I couldn't just stand there and just let somebody slap the shit out of my face. I'm sorry.
That's the
I couldn't-
contest. That's the contest. You stand there and let some dude slap the piss out of you.
Yeah.
And these guys are coming out with these swollen faces, and like
Yeah.
you can watch them in real time get CTE. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Something I'd expect out of a
But
Japanese.
some of the slappers
game
really do
show,
have
but-
personality though. Like there's a
Well,
couple
they-
of guys that are really eccentric.
They had it personality until they lost their
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah.
This sounds like a comment geared towards John. You can't
Oh,
beat
no.
the DC animated universe. A few
Yeah, I
exceptions.
saw that comment.
So,
It's yeah. There's even the bad ones are usually way better than the Marvel animated stuff.
Batman Ninja.
Scott, my buddy Scott.
Well,
gets all
that's
worked up
that's the
about
bottom of
Joe.
the barrel. Like
that's one of the
that's
exceptions that proves the rule.
yeah,
The Killing Joke.
Yeah, killing. That's what Scott gets
I
worked
don't
up
know
on
why
the
they
killing
did
joke.
what they did to the Killing Joke.
but
They took
but
that
then-
one to a whole nother level. Even Alan Moore's like, look, I didn't write this.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I
If
mean,
Alan Moore is saying
Alan-
no, then-
Alan Moore was wiping his ass with that story. He did an interview where he's like, people still read that?
Well,
Huh.
they even took his like they didn't have that stuff with Bruce and Barbara hooking up and that kind of like they
No.
really like they ran with that. And even Alan Moore's like, I hate this more than I hate everything else. that they're hooking up
The DCAU, like you got Harley Quinn raping Nightwing, like just
Oh,
all
crazy
kinds
shit.
of crazy stuff, man.
Crazy shit.
And they
All
get
right.
away with it.
but
back
still,
to-
you get better. You get way better above that, and there are a lot more movies. You know,
There's a lot. There's a lot of DC animated movies.
and they're
also,
good. Like all the Justice League Dark stuff. You can't beat that.
all right, and back to the Flash.
Did
Our
we
good
have
friend
to?
Timothy Jones said, at least he pleaded guilty. I'm sure it will be a speedy trial.
How do you not plead
Oh.
guilty? How do you not plead guilty? All the
No,
evidence
no.
is literally
That's
on
not
the
the-
internet.
There is no
That's not
trial.
the-
They're gonna send
Sour
they'll go right-
grapes, ladies and gentlemen, available in
Yeah,
finer
right.
newspapers across the country.
Hey,
That's who we need. That's who we need real time comments from. Timothy Jones.
Dad jokes. Nothing but dad
Yeah.
jokes.
Nothing but dad jokes. That is the way to go.
Brilliant, Timothy. Just brilliant.
All right. So these next this next tweet comes from the Gorillabrain Podcast.
I know
God
that guy.
help you. God help you.
Who the hell is that?
He says superhero speak has me
guy.
watching Cheers. I think there was a subliminal audio in that episode.
No,
I
that was in
strangely
the
want
episode
to
before.
join the 9 billion anime fans out there
Mhm.
fighting over changing voice actors. Old man Grady for president. Steak. What am I saying?
Mm-hmm.
So is it my fault you're watching all this? You're going through 3 seasons of Cheers?
It's kind of all your fault.
Good.
You guys made like
Good.
tickled my nostalgia bone, and I'm like, I watched Cheers in like 15 years. I'm gonna run through it,
It's really good.
and I regret nothing. Nothing. It's so good.
Nor should you. It's great. It's one of the greatest sitcoms of all time.
It really is, but it's like, every episode is in the bar, and it's like you're home away from home. When you want to escape the real world, you go to Cheers.
That's old
You
school
know?
sitcoms, man. You had the location, right? Everything
Yeah.
had to happen in the location. They don't make shows like that anymore.
No,
they go
they don't.
everywhere now.
No.
Um,
And
this is
fantastic
Josh
casting.
again.
Adult
yeah.
humor. I loved it. Sorry, Dave.
Can't-
I'm just, we got on Cheers.
I can't see how the Flash movies have any
Future.
Any
future
future.
with Ezra in a role. I'm pretty baffled how much they've
Everybody is
how
baffled about
much
that.
they handled this.
Yeah.
now, Dave.
everybody's
Now,
baffled.
Dave. Butchered the things in real time.
True.
By how much they handled it, they didn't handle it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true. They didn't do
confused by
anything.
that comment. No, they let him run rampant with a gun and a hostage.
And they
like
said,
OJ times
they're
10.
fine. They're fine. There's no problem. This movie's really good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm
You guys are
sure.
gonna
I'm
love
sure.
it.
It's so good that
Great
we're canceling Batgirl.
The only reason he got a trial instead of going straight to jail and pleaded out is because the DC lawyers were standing right behind him, making him
Warner
do all
Media.
this. Yep.
Warner Media.
So Ray, I'm sorry. Yes, we were talking about. So, are you easily influenced by us? Like,
No,
You say-
I honestly believe that there's subliminal messaging.
It was
Honestly.
super liminal messaging. Watch Cheers. Chris just said it. Watch Cheers. Great.
Cheers.
Like the episode last week, you know how you get the commercial break where it's like, after these messages, we'll be right back. And there was no commercial. And I woke up 30 seconds later. I don't, y'all do something with the audio? Because, by the way, I was driving when that happened and I blacked out for 30 seconds.
Missing time, they call that. Perhaps you were abducted by aliens.
Ooh. Aliens who like Cheers?
Ooh.
Well, they're from the 80s. They were big in the 80s, much like Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When I was a kid, Time Life would have these commercials, right? Remember the Time Life books?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Time Life books would have these commercials on. They would run them during kids' cartoons, which is always baffling to me. And I'll never forget this. They go, "Have you seen this face?" Boom. And they would slap like the Whitley Strieber aliens on the cover. And at like 6, 7 years old, I would see that and like be paralyzed. It would like stop me in my tracks. That creepy ass alien face. And I would like have to bury my head underneath a pillow and wait for the Ghostbusters to come back on or something like that. Time Life fucked me up. If you want to know why, I swear on YouTube, I don't care. If you want to know why I'm the way I am, this is why.
I never got banned on YouTube.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
There are certain topics we have to avoid on YouTube, but I don't think cursing is an issue.
Can we avoid Ezra Miller? Is that a topic we can avoid?
We cannot avoid Ezra Miller. We talk about them every week.
And no matter how much we try, he still keeps popping up.
So, last but not least, of course, not too long ago, we talked about the firing of Henry Cavill as Superman. And Screen Rundown replied with a GIF of Tony Stark saying, "Not a great plan." And Timothy Jones said, "I don't know why he got fired. I always thought he was a good Superman. Just too intense. I think with a good writer and director, he would be a much better, especially if they keep the hair curly Q."
Ray, is some zombies trying to break into your house?
No, it's a damn dog with his bone. I'll be right back.
Oh, wow.
An actual serious tweet from Tim.
Oh. Yeah, Tim. When Tim does it seriously, you got to be like, I spend like a minute trying to read through trying to find the joke.
Like, find the dad joke. Yes.
Yeah, he's being real on this one, and it always takes me like a minute to figure it out too. I'm like, I don't get it.
Facebook. Oh, I love this. Drew just chimed in. Facebook closed caption and it's out the cursing. So fuck.
Got the bone.
You got boned, all right.
Look what she did to it.
Turn it into a weapon. You can go hunt vampires with that thing.
Pretty much. Buffy it is.
It's my wife's all-time favorite show still.
I thought Angel was better.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Angel was better, but she was the Buffy game.
All right. Well, that is all the social media for this week.
Thank God.
So, for those who are watching and listening, if you want to know how you can be a part of Social Media Madness and follow us on social media, here is our good friend D Square to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you're following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the social media links for the show at the top of the page. While you're there, check out previous episodes of the podcast as well as other great content. And check the site often because we are posting great comic book reviews as well as other comic book and movie content every day. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Simply follow them at *_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pup Prism Power Podcast, Colt 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorillabrain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for GW All-Stars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
I totally forgot about the Don video. It scared the bejesus out of me.
Well, thanks for that, Don. And see, you're here even though you're not here. So don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. And Ray, while you are here, you want to plug Gorillabrain or?
Yeah, you can listen to past episodes of the Gorillabrain Podcast on any podcasting app that's out there: Spotify, iTunes, Apple, whatever they call it these days. Podcast, yeah, that's the thing. Thinking about starting a MySpace, boys and girls. Just throwing the podcast on old MySpace, see if I get any hits. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can also.
These old men thought you were being serious about this, bringing back MySpace.
Say, wait, isn't MySpace gone?
It's an audio platform. It's for music artists. Why not podcasters? Fuck it. Let's go.
I believe that Justin Timberlake was part of a consortium that bought MySpace some years back.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
he was.
You can catch me on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 p.m. on Twitch. Just follow the name 8-Bit Ray, as you see below. And you can also find me on TikTok underneath the same name. So add to the cool kids table, kiddies. I'll reserve you a
Colt
seat.
45 and 2 zigzags.
Well, I wish we had our Colt 45, but Mr. Random Randy Savage did not show this.
He was supposed to be here today, and he let us down. I thought he would love this movie.
All right.
probably
Well, you know
does.
what? We're going to take a quick
Things
break,
happen. World.
and we'll be right back with the news.
Do not.
She's been kidnapped by Cobra. We have no alternative. Call in G.I. Joe.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. He never gives up. He'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe.
Who's leader of the Joe team? Hawk.
is America's best. He's in control. He's the man.
Good luck,
who's
Joe.
He lives his days with the legend of G.I. Joe.
The Legend of G.I. Joe. New from Marvel Comics.
Nothing can stop Cobra. What about G.I. Joe?
Can we do that legally?
What the fuck was that?
They're old G.I. Joe commercials for the comic book. I forgot that that it's a stream. It's like 4 commercials put together. So
I was not expecting G.I. Joe, honestly. I was expecting like Viagra or something with, the old guys over here.
Same thing, really.
Appropriate for our age group for our viewing.
Oh,
audience.
what's this hour stuff? Come on, man. Ray and I are still young.
funny, though,
The
when
bottom
you look at
half of
those-
the screen is fine.
those commercials were made like I think before the cartoon.
They're probably royalty free. There's nobody claiming those things right now.
Hold on. Those commercials were made to advertise the comic book because
Right,
this was
not the
before
cartoon.
Reagan completely deregulated children's television. So they could advertise the comic, which in turn would advertise the toy. So it was
Yes.
part of this giant multi-level marketing scheme from Hasbro to rot the brains of children of the 80s, and it worked.
Yeah, it's
They
very
they
much-
have new
very much
like after all of that they I think in the late 90s they started to pass new regulations.
Mid-90s, yeah. That's why children's television changed dramatically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but back in the time of He-Man and everything, it was like the only reason for the shows was to sell toys, and that's why like what was it? Well, even like Hasbro.
Ewoks.
Well, Ewoks, but Hasbro.
Silverhawks.
Yeah, the Beast
Tron?
Wars.
Beast
Beast Wars. The reason why
Transformers.
Beast Wars like they keep on messing with the plot is because every like 3 episodes, Hasbro would come down and say, "Oh no, we've got this new toy we want you to fit in," and the writers were going crazy trying to make the plot coherent. That's why you've got 3 different versions of was it Optimus Prime or Optimus Primal?
Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but then you have the version of him with the ski, the version of him with who turns into a plane, and
I'm almost sorry that I played that commercial, but
Don't be.
I needed
It's a
to put something
conversation
in the
starter.
live feed.
It's a
All right.
conversation starter.
next time play the one from Mask or Mighty Orbox.
Oh, hey, so Wizards on. Pull that up. Yeah.
Yes.
Those are the best
Inhumanoids and
cartoons,
Centurions.
though.
Oh,
I
what?
love Centurions. Yeah.
What was it? The Biker Mice from Mars is getting a new reboot.
I saw that.
Biker
It's supposed to be like
Mice from
serious. That's after your time. That was a 90s kid thing.
Yeah.
Biker
Oh,
Mice
okay.
from
Not
Mars.
1890, John. You might remember the cartoons back then, silent movies and all.
You know, I feel
You
like
used to- had to-
You used to go to
you had to-
Nickelodeons. Not the show Nickelodeon, the
Right.
Nickelodeon. So
Yep.
you put the Nickelodeon.
so
you
we know
crank
this is
Yep.
we know this is from Joey. I always felt like I was one of the only people that liked Mask.
I like Mask.
I liked Mask.
The comics
They-
suck, but
Never
And
read
the theme
comic.
song was like very like the theme song.
Yeah,
It stuck with you.
Yep.
I had the toys. The toys were really cool too.
I didn't think I had the toys. I was too young.
The motorcycle that turned into the helicopter. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All
that
toys
was
in the
first
80s were
one I
stuff
had.
that turned into other stuff.
there's one
That was
toy.
the thing of the 80s.
There's-
Everyone
That's the
wanted-
90s, I meant 80s.
There's only one toy that I'm ever going to buy again, and that is the Technodrome from Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Because my mother,
Holy
the
grail.
cheapskate that she is, God bless her, never got me that for Christmas. So I'm on the hunt for a Technodrome.
It was ridiculous. It was enormous.
It was $85.
It's a lot in
In
1990 money.
Yeah, in 1990 money, that's a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His mom was Cher. I don't remember that.
What, really?
Who's mom?
Oh, Mask the movie.
Oh, he's being Rocky Dennis. Oh, okay. That took me a
Okay.
second. Okay, that was good. Joey.
Nice.
Went over our heads for a second.
Very yeah. See, now you can see us go off track of the topic in real time.
Here we go.
And just go
Here we
way
go. Here we go. Rocky Dennis, played by Eric Stoltz, the original Marty McFly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Though they did originally want Michael J. Fox. He couldn't do it because of the TV show Family Ties.
Brandon Tartikoff said no.
Yep.
And then he
And
relented.
They renegotiated and was able to get him because apparently they. Have you ever seen the footage that's been released with Schultz? Like
The Stoltz footage? No, just the
Stoltz,
clips. No one's ever seen like I don't think anyone's ever seen like the actual clip, like the actual teens. Bob Gale says they're never going to release them, but there's like clips that exist. And it looks weird. Like it does not look right at all.
It's just like he's not charming or comedic like
No, that's why it didn't work.
Michael J. Fox. Yeah,
That's what didn't work. Zemeckis called Spielberg and was like, "We can't. This isn't working." They shot for like 2 weeks with him, or something like that, and they were like, "This is a disaster." It wouldn't have worked. It would have been a failure.
All right. Well, speaking of things that aren't failures, some news. This first article is for John. Really, I know.
Zimmer.
No, this isn't Zimmer. This is Steven Spielberg is going to produce a documentary about the great John Williams.
I know, but that always brings up.
Everybody gets a biopic.
Well,
Williams is overdue, though.
That was my question. JD might know the answer to this. Has Spielberg done a documentary before?
No.
Directed one?
He's appeared in them, but he's not
I
done one.
produced some. I don't think he's directed one. I don't want to go through his IMDb. I don't think so.
He might have done something for National Geographic at one point, I think, or something along those lines.
I want to say around the time he did Amistad, he might have done some type of a doc for that. But I don't like he and Errol Morris or anything like that doing documentaries. Like Werner Herzog can bounce around a little bit. Some other guys have done some documentaries. I don't think Spielberg has. I have to look into that, and I don't really feel like doing a Google search while we're on the show. So I'm gonna go with him.
Maybe.
No live Google searches.
I mean, do you guys really want to see me go while I'm on the?
John will do it in a second because he does it all the time.
And the podcast is one thing. When we're live video, it's a different story.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think I like the idea. I definitely will check it out. He was the soundtrack of like all of our childhood.
Yes.
And all the best parts.
But now he's retired, right? After this last Indiana Jones, he's done, right?
I got to see him perform with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra once. It was pretty
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. He's
a once in a generation talent. I mean, like most people can't. Yeah, because when's the last time we had anybody who could do music like that could actually paint a picture in your brain?
Oh, my friend, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that later.
I know where JD's going with it, and I totally agree.
Ray knows exactly where I'm going. We're going to talk about that later.
John Powell? No.
But is anybody?
John Powell's good.
Have you ever heard anyone say that they hated this John Williams score?
No, never.
Have you ever heard anybody say, I miss the old John Williams? No. The guy is he hits every time.
That's true. I get what you're saying.
What you pay him the big bucks for.
So at worst, his stuff was better than mediocre. At best, you hear any of his scores and you immediately know what it's from because everybody knows what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very distinctive sound. I would say there's only a couple of people out there that are like that. And I would say Danny Elfman would be one of them.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you that.
And as much as you hate him, John, I'm gonna say Zim. I'm gonna say Zimmerman.
I'm sorry, Zimmer doesn't have anything that
it's a distinctive style. You know it's Zimmerman.
Yes, one distinctive style. Period.
Right.
Yeah, and
we
that's
got it,
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
But
that's
it's
it.
distinctive.
That's
You
what he
know
does,
it.
though. You know it
Yeah.
exactly. You know a Zimmer score.
It's
when you
like
have it.
right, because if you want explosions, you get Michael Bay. If you want boom, you get Zimmer. That's it. You know.
Well, hold on. Nobody's hating John Williams on here.
No
No one is hating John.
No,
Williams.
he's saying
No.
he's agreeing. Hating John Williams is
Oh, he's
beyond
crazy.
bizarre. He's
I only read the
greatest.
first part. I do that a
Okay.
lot.
You got to read the whole thing.
Gotta finish
right?
the thing, man. Yeah,
This
just
is why I don't host it.
You're stroking your dog like you're Dr. Evil or something. Or no, it's a cat. Sorry, you got dim lighting.
My kitty.
Huh.
It's the one that never goes away. But if I don't give her love, she'll never go away. So
All right. So
Astro got a haircut. And he's in the
treat her like a
corner.
wife.
Okay, what's up next?
all right. So I think we're all going to check it out, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
All right. Fine. This is a topic we have talked about on this show many times. Superhero
ED.
fatigue.
Oh, different kind of fatigue.
Oh my god.
I was going to say hair loss myself, but you know,
No, mine's way funnier.
Join the
I
club.
know.
Kevin Feige actually addressed this in a recent interview. And basically he said he doesn't understand the concept of superhero fatigue. He says no one after they
Of course
watched
he doesn't.
Gone with the Wind said, "Oh, well, you know, aren't you worried about novel fatigue? Like movies been made based on books for a long
That is
time."
so disingenuous. I mean, like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. First of all, it's like Civil War fatigue is what you would call it, right? And
Yeah.
the best example is the Western. We cranked out all those Westerns in the 50s, 60s, and about the mid 70s, people started going, kind of tired of the Western.
Yeah, if we've seen it all, that's it. You know?
Yeah. So that's the comparison.
I tend to disagree with that a little bit just because some of the westerns that were made were really bad. They were just cranking
Some of
them
them-
out.
Some of the Marvel stuff they've been making hasn't been really good.
But you know what they've been cranking out for like 60 years now, and nobody's gotten tired of them? Soap operas. There's like 20 different days of our lives and how the wheel turns or whatever.
Yeah, but you
or how
know
the
what?
world turns.
There are not as many as there used to be because daytime television isn't what it used to be. There's only like two or
That's
three
true.
left.
That's
Like
true.
back in the 50s, back from in the 80s when I was a kid, you turn on like one of the big three networks and like there'd be soap operas from like 10
All day.
o'clock in the afternoon to like 3 in the afternoon.
Well, that's
That
that's
doesn't
because
exist anymore.
that's
The
because
one
those
thing-
were for the stay-at-home wives and moms
And grandmas.
And
The
that
economy doesn't allow that for it anymore. Ain't nobody staying at
Exactly.
home.
Yeah, so no,
Everybody got to work
like,
3 jobs.
The
Yeah.
one thing I kind of
exactly.
I didn't agree with in his comments though. He said he was saying that you also have 80 years of stories worth to pull from. But my issue with that is it feels like they went right to the modern era in the last phase or the last 2 phases. Like they skipped over long periods of time from the comic.
Well, because a lot of that stuff wasn't as good as we like.
No.
Like let's be real.
You
Like
can skip
tell
that.
tell me these great Marvel stories from the 70s. Not a lot.
Galactus.
Craven's Last Hunt. was-
That was
No, that
Silver
was
1987.
Surfer and
my friend.
Galactus.
yeah, that's 80s. You're right.
Look, seriously, like when before Jim, people don't like Jim Shooter, but before Jim Shooter became the editor in chief of
I'm a
Marvel,
big fan of Jim.
what great stories in like the Kree Skrull War. Okay, we're doing that right now. Give me something else from the 70s that's just like, and again, love them, like Marvel horror fan, love the original that X-Men stuff, but there's not a lot. The best stuff, it all started in the early 80s. Like the early 80s is a revelation in comics. That's when stuff gets really good. The 60s gets all the attention. The 70s, there's some stuff, but I mean, like, you know,
I hear
It's
what you're
not
saying.
classic.
I hear
It's
what you're
not
saying,
classic.
JD. Yeah, there's no real in-depth storytelling back then. There really isn't. It's just, just tell one story a week and sell an issue. Go
And
on to
they're-
the next week.
they're cranking stuff out. They're trying new characters. Like,
Mhm.
I mean,
after
he
the
had-
death of, give me the best Spider-Man story after the original Clone Saga.
After the original Clone Saga?
The original Clone Saga, when Peter first meets his clone, right? Not the 90s stuff, but like, and that's debatable whether that's a great story either. But I mean, like,
Maximum Carnage.
find me something
I'm
in
really
the
stretching.
70s before Roger Stern becomes the writer of Spider-Man that's like fantastic. Doesn't exist.
Good fights. but no good story. Maybe
no
the
good
Green
story.
Goblin, Gwen Stacy stuff. Maybe that.
That's before.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
Dark
I mean,
Phoenix Saga?
then you got me in a slump here,
I
buddy.
said
Dark
Spider-Man.
Phoenix?
That's 1980. That's 1980, my friend.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
yeah.
Jim
it
Shooter.
was-
That's Jim Shooter, though. Like that era when
I
Stan,
feel
like
like there's
Roy
some
Thomas
good-
is gone. Tell me one.
wait, you said from the 70s, right?
For Spider-Man, I spent Spider-Man specifically, but like I always agree with the narcissist. He has great points. Please put that up there. It's about me.
Screen cat.
Sorry, my eye keeps getting drawn to the comments. But I mean, seriously, like, what great Marvel stories? DC for the same matter. Like, if it wasn't Denny O'Neil doing stuff in DC before the 80s, there ain't not a lot of great storytelling. There's selling a lot of books, but
There's a lot of good writing, but just not a lot of good stories. You're
Weren't
right.
they in a transition period from being more
much.
science fiction oriented to
I don't know.
to
I mean, like,
more
I think they were in a
superhero-oriented?
leadership because they had like Marvel has like 4 different editors in chief over the course of like 3 years in the late 70s before Jim Shooter. And people didn't like Shooter, but the line gets a lot more defined, right? And everything kind of comes to life because like think about it, that's when we get Claremont and Byrne doing X-Men. That's when you get Byrne doing Fantastic Four. That's when you get Frank Miller doing Daredevil. Like those early 80s is excellent storytelling at Marvel Comics. Roger Stern on Spider-Man.
We did the death of
Gene DeWolf.
Gene DeWolf.
85.
85, yeah. I'm trying to think. Jeez,
It's all in the 80s. It's all in the 80s. Spider-Man's the best Spider-Man stuff, the classic Spider-Man stuff was either like that. I think that might have happened once. It was either in the 60s or in the 80s.
Look, Randy showed up. Give me Spider-Man kicking the crap out of Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I mean, that was his first time meeting him. Didn't he kick the crap out of him?
They fight. I wouldn't necessarily say they kick the crap
Well,
out
him
of
and
him.
Human Torch had that love-hate relationship. You know?
Yeah.
The first time Spider-Man met the X-Men, he he wiped the whole squad effortlessly. Yeah.
Yep.
Made them look like chumps. A full team. Gotta love it.
Watching from work. Hey, Randy.
Wow, work must be really boring.
That's nuts. We got another comment. Yes, they were. Neil Adams does the last art run before X-Men pretty much goes on hiatus for about, I want to say 5 years. And then Giant Size
Wait, when
hits in
did Giant
75.
Size? Yeah,
75.
75. Giant
And it's
Size
but it's also bi-monthly. Like it's only got 6 issues a year from the X-Men until I want to say 79.
Yeah.
70s was very campy by design. Animated children's shows also post Adam West Batman. Yeah.
That's not true. So DC did have good stuff with like Marshall Rogers and Steve Englehart writing Batman. That was the late 70s, like Laughing Fish, the Return of the Joker stuff.
Return of the Joker.
That is like an exception to the rule because that's when Denny O'Neil gets on Batman as the editor. So you start getting good. So everyone gives Frank Miller all the credit for Batman getting cool again. That's not true. Like
Not really.
Steve Englehart is really the guy who
There it is. You
really
got it.
wanted to do Batman again. Yeah, see, Ray knows.
You got it.
Ray's my drummer.
No, you're absolutely correct. Englehart is the man that brought Batman back from campy.
We need a graphic that shows us running off into the distance, like stage left. We are so far off.
Not very, though. We're not
No,
very
I
off
mean,
course.
this came up because I said they haven't pulled. They kind of like did some early stories and then started pulling right from the modern era with the books.
Because it's better.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look,
There's good
the
stuff in
term,
the 80s that they kind of ignored.
for who? Who are we talking about specifically? We just Captain, like the Winter Soldier, the Falcon Winter Soldier show was basically like the John Walker story from the 80s for Captain America.
Well, I mean,
We just did
They
WandaVision. Like that was 1984, you know?
they destroyed both X-Men stories that everyone loves from the 80s, the Phoenix Saga and
Well, they tried twice.
what's
They
the,
failed twice.
the time traveling one?
David
Days of Future
fucking
Past.
Goyer.
Yeah.
Who surprisingly had nothing to do with that in a shocking turn of events.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta
Wasn't
blame somebody.
Fox. That's why they don't exist anymore.
Yeah. 20th Century Fox does.
20th Century
Fox.
Fox.
Yeah.
Now they're owned by Disney.
That's right.
So, yeah. Anyway,
what do we go? What else we got, Dave?
and the last one is just comic book news, guys, because this is a comic book podcast.
Shockingly.
They announced the roster for the Avengers for 2023. Because obviously they can't leave the stupid roster alone.
No, I can't. Well, that's the Avengers. They've been tinkering with the rosters since 1968, so I'm okay with that. It's a pretty traditional roster.
So for the
right,
current,
who we got, Dave?
Obviously, you have the trilogy of Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. But it is the Falcon Cap.
Sam Wilson.
We got Sam Wilson. Thank you. Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Panther, and of course Scarlet Witch and Vision. So I mean, they've been in the Avengers before.
That's it.
All been.
Yeah, it's the new. That's. I mean, it's a pretty. Like I said, it's a pretty traditional Avengers roster. Can I be honest? I'm not happy that we've shaved Thor's beard. Thor looks way cooler with a beard.
It does look weird, doesn't it?
No,
doesn't it? Because we've gotten so used to him with the beard. Like even in the comics, he's had that beard for a long time.
I don't know. I left new comics behind in 2018. I just go back and read the old stuff.
I've had a problem too. I keep telling myself I'm going to get back on board.
It's too expensive. It's way too pricey.
Expensive.
Yeah,
super expensive.
Thor did not have a beard though when he first came.
No, but he's had a beard for a long enough where it's like become tradition.
Yeah, you can pretty much thank Ultimate for that. Or no, when he came back the first time, he had the beard and the stupid helmet over his face and all that. Thank you, Walt Simonson.
Yeah,
Walt Simonson's awesome.
I love both of the Simonsons. I've met them at cons. They're freaking great.
Hemsworth has had a beard, I think, the whole time, right?
Hemsworth looks good with a beard.
No, he didn't have a
looks
beard the whole time.
Hemsworth looks good. He's a handsome
No, he
man.
did in the first one, and he had bleached eyebrows.
He didn't in the
He had a
second one
beard.
either.
He had a beard in both of those movies. What are you guys talking about?
No,
Are you
I'm thinking of another movie then. I thought he was clean cut.
No, Thor's got a beard in all the movies.
No,
He does have bleached eyebrows in the first movie.
It's the one movie, the one Thor movie where he puts his leg up like this and he's got his big cock hanging right here. What was that?
You're watching stuff on Vivid, I believe.
No, it was a movie. It was like
What was the movie?
I don't know. I wanted to look it up, but you
He had a beard even when he appeared with the original
he did
Incredible
not have a
Hulk in the
beard.
70s.
Ray is right.
Thank
Wait a
you.
minute.
Oh,
He had a cock down to his knee. I'll pull up the picture.
What the hell are we talking about?
Hemsworth Thor has always had a beard.
Goodbye, family show.
Wait, we that a long
We were a
time.
family show and you invited
Yeah.
me?
True that.
All right, let's move on. We had a great movie to talk
That's
about.
that is weird.
Rule 69.
Nice.
Give
Yes.
me Rule 34, but
Is it Rule 34? I thought doesn't Rule 69 make more sense?
It was Order
it would,
69.
but it's Rule
Order
34.
66.
69.
Rule 34 is there's always a porn version of everything.
Yep.
No, that's a fact. Trust me.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Trust
Rule
me.
66 is
Yeah, if you're gonna download Toy Story, just make sure you get the right one, kids. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't Rule 66 where you kill all the Jedi? I don't.
That's Order 66.
Oh.
Not about the cock. Thor 1, clean goatee. Thor 2, clean again. Ragnarok.
I thought he was clean. I thought so.
Yes. No.
Oh, okay. The movie was called Vacation, and it came out in 2015, and it had the guy from The Office, Andy from The Office.
Not a bad flick.
No, that was the one where Chris Hemsworth had the dick down to the leg, under the knee.
Oh yeah, he did. That
right,
is true.
yes.
He does have that. That is accurate.
Oh, now you all remember the dick down to the knee. Okay.
Well, it wasn't Thor.
But it wasn't Thor.
He has a beard. I'm looking at screen caps from the original Thor. He's got a beard, for God's sakes.
There's too many Chris's in the MCU. It's time. We're just gonna start calling them by their character names. In any other movie they're in.
All right, we got to move on. We got a movie to talk about.
We got a movie to talk about. All right. We're gonna take another quick break, and we'll come back with the
What's
movie.
the commercial gonna be this time?
She's been kidnapped by Cobra. We have no alternative. Call in G.I.
He'll
Joe.
fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. He never gives up. He'll stay till the fight's won. G.I.
Who's leader of the Joe team? Buck.
Is America's best. He's in control. He's the man.
Good luck, Joe.
He wins his days. Legend G.I. Joe.
legend of G.I. Joe, new from Marvel Comics.
Nothing can stop.
I'm super disappointed in you, Dave.
We
We'll
should
find,
do
we'll
one
find
with.
better ones for next time.
Just the
but
same
I want-
one.
I
wanna
only
see
have
the-
the one loaded.
I want to see the promo for Marlo and the Magic Movie Machine.
What? I
Well,
feel
this
like
is
I've been
new, guys.
Mandela
Come
to
on.
do a new universe.
We will work the kinks out. I promise.
That is a deep cut. Marlo and the Magic Movie Machine. I'm probably the only one on the planet there.
We're going to
remembers
talk
that.
about a movie now from 1990, guys. Liam Neeson, written and directed by Sam Raimi,
Mhm.
Donnie
Yep.
Elfman, Danny Elfman on the score,
The Phantom Menace.
You could have called that.
and
this
of course
movie
we're
The Phantom
talking
Menace, but-
about Darkman.
Yes.
God,
I finally get on the show and get to talk about Sam Raimi. You don't even know. I was so happy when you guys brought up Darkman, and you're like, "Let's get Ray on here," and I'm like, "Yeah, I was driving to Burger King. I almost dropped my food." I'm like, yeah, fucking
Very-
Darkman.
A very young Liam Neeson too.
super. And Francis McDormand. This actually has a pretty good cast.
Yes.
Yep. This was Neeson's first action role. Like he's done like background parts. It wasn't his first leading
thought-
role, but it in an action movie.
But it's weird watching Liam Neeson do an American accent, and you're just kind of like, "Ooh, hey, ooh, why?"
Yeah.
Like I got Neeson. I got Neeson.
Well,
I mean,
okay,
got Neeson.
okay.
The more American he gets, the more angrier he gets.
He's
We'll
angry.
get
in
into
this
that in
movie.
a second. Here's my first question. All right, like
Sure.
I know I watched this movie when it, like, not in the theater, but when it came out on VHS. Probably I want to say 92, 93 is when I finally saw the movie, and of course, back then we were starved for movies like this, and I loved it. And then rewatching it now, I'm like, huh. So I'm kind of curious. Let's go around the room. Like, what did everyone thought? What was everyone's thoughts rewatching it now?
Me first.
Um,
Me first. My God, what a piece of cinematic art.
JD, why
I-
don't you go first?
I'm going first. I love this movie so much. I
Yes.
watched it 1990. My parents took me to see it at the drive-in, a double feature with Problem
Ooh.
Child. What a weird
Problem
weird
Child.
billing that was. Like in retrospect, what were they thinking? And I was watching this going, I can't believe my parents took me to see this. This is fantastic. It was my first Sam Raimi film, and boy, oh boy, was this a Sam Raimi film.
Oh yeah.
Like there are points I'm like, oh, the camera work, the bizarre camera work, like the story that it just like I just get right into it. Just get right on into it. Not gonna beat around the bush with a bunch of plot. Like I think this is they don't make movies like this anymore. Like this is Sam Raimi finally got a budget and went crazy. He's like, I want to have a dude hanging off a helicopter and people shooting at him. Why is there helicopter shooting? Why is a cop helicopter to sound like on patrol? Why? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. It's just awesome. I love this movie so much.
Remember people, 1990
Year
had a
after
budget
Batman.
of 14 million and made 48.8 million at the box office.
That's a healthy take. That's a healthy return. This is
Well,
why
there's a
Sam
reason
Raimi
why
kept
there's a number
getting more.
2.
Yeah, well, okay, so this came out in an era where you didn't really get sequels to movies like this. You got 2 direct-to-video sequels with Jeff Fahey and Arnold
Okay.
Sulu.
Yep.
Um,
Imhotep.
Yeah.
That's right. There's one more article that I included at the top of the. I included in a separate email. They're actually in talks with Raimi now to do Darkman 4 because
God, I
of
would
all the
love
buzz around.
Wow.
What you call it? Doctor Strange.
Good.
So does Darkman's daughter get taken? I don't know.
No. Oh, that'd be great. You could bring Liam Neeson back. He's in great shape. He's good. You know, he'd just be angry Darkman again. I bet he would do it too.
And he wouldn't even need the makeup.
Pretty much something like that right now.
Oh.
Like, you know what this movie really is? It's basically the Phantom of the Opera meets the Human Target.
It is a complete.
Oh yeah.
If you enjoy 30s
Chance,
monsters movies,
yeah.
it is a complete love fest, a love letter to those
Yes.
types of movies. Almost like Werewolf by Night was for you, John.
All right.
This was.
Okay.
I'm being silenced. The narcissist.
No.
would like to
Go ahead.
speak.
Go ahead.
I'm
go
the
ahead.
narcissist. Me.
No, go ahead, Dave. We'll have a counterpoint here because you don't. I heard that at the very beginning when you said, "What are your thoughts on it?" I'd like to know your thoughts so I can.
Well, first I want to hear John's before I speak. I'll go last.
Okay.
Yeah, somehow I don't think you should get the last word on this. But okay, this movie is like, well, it's 1980. So like
90.
1990, sorry, 1990. It does straddle a line between like the 80s action flicks and the 90s ones. And Raimi is just, I loved how like there were it's like lots of really disturbing imagery.
Oh yeah.
And it just, and you could see, I mean, it's Raimi all over. It's just, I like it. I think it's still underrated.
Me too.
It was, I had popcorn downstairs just watching this. I'm like, this is incredibly entertaining. I didn't remember a lot of it because I haven't seen it in probably like almost 20 years. But it's still
and you're not alone in that crowd, John.
Oh, I bet I haven't seen it in 20 years either. Yeah.
So,
but it's good. It's still really good.
Comment came in. Liam did say recently he'd be interested.
Of course,
Nice.
he needs work, and he needs to stop doing those one movies where his daughter gets kidnapped or his wife gets kidnapped. Everyone, and he's like, "I will find you."
Yeah, how bad are you that it happens once and it continues to happen after you have a particular set of skills?
He's basically a McAllister at this point. He keeps leaving that kid all over the place. People
I know.
yeah.
Your skills cover getting them, but not keeping them.
So
Kind of terrible.
All right, Dave, tell me why you didn't like the movie.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
No, I see the smirk on your face. You can
Uh-huh.
wipe. You can just wipe it off and tell me real
Yeah.
quick.
You've been a real
There's no
negative
beating
Nancy
around the
lately.
bush. There's no beating the
on
bush,
these.
Dave. Come on and say it. Where did you lose your joy? Please.
How are you so offended by Darkman, yet you said good things about Superman 3? So
Hayden Westcott.
Yeah.
please,
Hayden
do
Westlake
please
is dead.
enlighten me, sir.
You can call me Darkman. God, I jumped out of my chair and I said, "This is still great."
Yeah, because he wasn't called Darkman until that very last line of the movie.
Oh,
Okay.
why wouldn't he be called Darkman? Like, but it's perfect. Yeah, continue, Dave. I'm sorry.
I want to say one. This is a movie of its time.
Yes.
This movie is
Definitely.
so 90s and so Sam Raimi.
Yes.
Like
When did
you.
it come out?
Where's the downside?
I know. I'm agreeing with you. That's why it's great.
What
I
was
just
the
feel
rating
like-
when it came out? It was an R or was
Oh, this is an R-rated movie.
Yeah, it's an
man.
R-rated
yeah.
movie.
because
I
it
just feel
could
like
have been rated PG. And
No.
one of my issues
By
with
today's
it
standards, maybe.
Maybe.
is I kind of felt like at times it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Really?
Yeah. And come on, let's be honest. Liam Neeson was kind of over the top in this movie.
It's a Sam
That was
Raimi
a-
movie,
that
man.
And Bruce
Yeah.
Campbell wasn't in Evil Dead?
I know. This is like.
But I
Did you see
expect
Evil
that
Dead
from-
too?
I expect
well,
that from
Evil Dead
Campbell.
was so subtle. I mean,
I can't believe that Liam Neeson went on to do Schindler's List after this movie. Like,
He's an actor.
because he's that good. That's
Yeah.
it's
That's
not
really
the
good.
same guy. It does
the
not feel like
person.
the same actor.
That's the point of
That's the
being an
point of being
actor.
an actor,
If
yeah.
it's if you're an actor and you can do both those movies, you
Yeah.
got something, man.
This
Obi-Wan
man
went on
was-
to be a gay character dating Jim Carrey.
Larry Drake, who
Yeah.
plays Durant in this movie,
Oh,
was
yeah.
the special needs janitor in LA Law. Also a
That's true.
versatile actor.
Yep. Yep, but Raimi took one look at him and said, I want that guy for Durant because I envisioned Durant. This is Durant for me. I need him. I don't care what he's done.
And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is what makes it a great movie. Like I said, it's definitely a movie of its era. And I said they don't make movies like this anymore because Sam Raimi is really all about, like, he's an expressionist filmmaker, right? It's
Right.
not supposed to be realistic, like, especially
Not
this
in
era
the
of his
least is
career.
this movie
Like,
realistic.
it's not supposed to be. Like, this is evil. This is Sam Raimi in between Evil Dead 2 and
Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
So this is what he's doing in this era. This is him doing. This is literally what This is literally what 1990 Sam Raimi could do if charged to make a superhero movie.
And you say it's not realistic, but there are studies on the human pain system, and the thing is that we have blocks on us through pain that make us not use 100% of our muscles. And if you got rid of those blocks, like say taking away your ability to feel pain, you would be able to lift small cars and stuff. You'd tear a lot of muscles, but that's somebody did their research in this, and there's a bunch of science fiction stuff.
I like
and the
superhero
computer stuff was fun, but for a guy like me, but it was still good.
I like superhero movies. I don't need the physical justification for how he can do these
I
things.
know, but
He's
but
scarred. That's how he can do it. And he's angry.
You
Oh,
know
yeah, and
me
that's the
though.
thing,
I
and
like
I
the
will
little
say-
details, and when they get little details
do
like
like
that,
the-
it's just
you do like
it's
the
just
details.
extra sauce,
But see, the thing is, like, it doesn't even make sense but
No,
I don't
that's
care.
what's
And I
great
don't
about
care
it.
about it,
It
right?
doesn't need to be. It's
Because here's the whole
Darkman.
thing: they make a big deal about they cut off his ability to have any feelings and nerves, but there's quite a few times he expresses pain in this movie, like when he gets hit by stuff. So it's like, okay,
His
but
hands can't feel it. The rest of his body can feel stuff. It's his hands.
is it? I thought it was.
It was
Yeah.
supposed to be his whole body, but
Well,
That's
it was
cut,
pretty
pretty-
they,
What are you
they
talking about?
cut,
He
they
got-
cut the pain receptors up, and
He got shot. He took a bullet and didn't flinch.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
it might
but
have been-
at the fight,
it
at
might
the
have
end
just
of the
been
helicopter, he
angry
keeps getting
groans.
hit, and he gets flinched when he gets hit with in the fight at the end in the helicopter.
Well, who wouldn't
Jumping
flinch
ahead.
when he was?
But a flinch is just
it-
a reaction. Like that's not.
Yeah.
pain.
Well,
Like,
but I
he
mean, he's
he was- it's
recoiling in
instinct.
pain. I'm sorry, he's not flinching.
That's
He's
fine.
recoiling back in pain.
that's your best debate. He
No, I'm not
flinched.
saying.
he flinched. I am out. I'm out. He's flinching.
Supercomputers created by someone that has no tech experience in Superman 3. That's fine, guys.
talk
But my
talk
man
about
takes one bullet.
Did
and
Dave
goes
like
this.
Superman 3? I don't remember Dave
did.
defending Superman 3. Did
He
did
said
that
there were
happen?
good parts in it. He said there were good parts.
I said there were good parts. I didn't defend the
still like
movie
the
as a
end.
whole.
I still like the evil Brainiac lady. I think
I
that's
still like
cool.
the cocaine ski slope.
that was what,
Cocaine
but
ski
that
slope
evil
was the
Brainiac
thing that
lady
we saw.
that evil Brainiac lady was one of the most terrifying things
agree.
in in
Okay,
movies.
Let's
all
not
the-
get on
like
a
that
tangent about
decade.
Superman
Season
3. Josh, if you want to hear these comments, go back and listen to that episode.
You know,
But anyway,
about
but
7 months ago.
Yeah, but
like 2 years ago.
Darkman is like I'm sorry. I think it's really good. Like it's still good today. It holds up completely. It is
Absolutely.
incredibly entertaining. The action was good. Raimi's imagery, as always, is just right. A little bit disturbing, a little bit funny, and yeah, I mean it works. It just works.
I don't know. I mean, it's so 90s. I just felt, and it's because it's so 90s, it's so over the top in this, a lot of times in this movie.
But RoboCop is over the top, and that still holds up. I mean,
Did
like,
you live in the 90s, Dave? Because
Yeah.
the 90s were over the top, bro.
Especially 1990 in and of itself.
I kind of feel like this movie set the tone for the 90s.
No,
I
this movie
choose-
set the
I
no,
choose
this
to
movie
believe that.
This movie set the tone for the Spider-Man films. If
Yeah,
you
it
look at
does.
some of the shots and how it's done, they are Spider-Man 2, especially
Mhm.
the science scene is taken almost directly from Darkman.
I remember
He's-
watching
Well,
that
well-
scene with the arms come to life and thinking to myself, this is the Sam Raimi that gave us Evil Dead. But it's
Yes.
very much the Sam Raimi of Darkman at the same time.
Exactly. Spider-Man
What do you-
just
Yeah,
go
that
ahead.
is a Sam Raimi scene through and through. That
very
Where-
much.
Where is this in Raimi's? Like, so he's got Darkman. Before
This
this,
is-
was Lunatics, The Dead Next Door.
Yeah, those aren't
And
his
then-
good. Those kind of flew under radar. Like really, it's between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness.
You're talking about his little passion projects that really
Yeah,
didn't
those
take
weren't
off.
because he made I can't remember the name of the crime movie he made after Evil Dead 2. Like that does okay, and he's doing okay with stuff. But I mean, really, Evil Dead 2 is kind of like his real calling card as a filmmaker because that's like a real movie. Evil Dead 1 is just like it's like a schlocky horror film. Evil Dead 2 was like a masterpiece, like
Okay.
a horror masterpiece.
And he
then
did
does
Mantis.
this.
He did Hard Target after this, and then Mantis. Mantis, I remember Mantis, and then Time Cop. Yeah, well, he was a producer in Time Cop.
Well, he was
And
just
then-
taking when he did Hard Target, he didn't pitch
Taking
for
job.
Hard
Okay,
Target.
here's-
it was
here's
a
my
job,
question.
man.
Yeah.
It was
Right?
like Kevin Smith doing Red or whatever the hell that Bruce Willis movie. Cop Out.
Okay, if he's in talks
Red was
to
good,
do,
though.
if he's in talks to do Darkman 4 and Liam Neeson is willing to return
Oh
to
my
the role,
god, JD will cry.
Then Ray's gonna fly to Chicago and me and JD got a date.
can I ask my question?
Sure.
What do you think would happen if they made it just like the first one
I would
today?
adore it.
I think
I
you
would-
have to.
You would. You would have to match that
Like
tone.
over the top
Mhm.
visuals, the weird
the weird, the weird
I don't-
close up of the
cinematography,
eye and all
humor.
the lightning and everything.
I
up.
don't. That's what makes this movie special, and he's right. Like Ray's right. It is very much a callback to a lot of those like Universal monster movies, and this is very much inspired by the Phantom of the Opera.
and the Shadow and Batman.
The Shadow, yeah. This is very much it's pulpy. It's very, very pulpy. Like
Very.
there's elements of horror movies. There's elements of like not so much the early superheroes, but the pulp characters like the Spider and the Shadow and those kind of things. This is really Raimi's love letter to that kind of stuff. It's like a pop. It's like a pop culture Cuisinart in a way where you take those early '30s things, you take like monster movies, and you put like that '80s action movie. And it's kind of all those mixed together, which is again, only Sam Raimi could have made this movie.
Mhm.
And if he's going to make a fourth one, I think he has to stay true to what his original is. Because if you have a subtle, like if you do like a more like grounded version of Darkman, it's just, I don't think it works.
But the thing is,
Well,
the thing is, like that imagery that he was doing when he started to go a little bit crazy from not having any feeling and everything, like you could update that to make it more
better.
good for today. But with that, but it's the imagery still makes sense because that's what's going on in his brain, and that's Raimi's vision of how it feels to him, and it still makes sense today. You know, like yeah, you could update it a little bit.
From a character point of view, Peyton Westlake is such a cool character, right? He's this scientist, very generic. It's got almost like that Swamp Thing origin, right?
Yeah.
But instead of being reborn as a muck monster, he just doesn't die. Right, and he's a monster. I love the scene where he puts the little funnel in his face. Look at the dancing freak! Like all I could think is I would love to have been on set when Raimi and Neeson are doing this. This is madness.
The game when he was doing the game at the carnival or whatever,
the pink elephant,
like
pink elephant,
that's takes wild. The guy's fingers and take the pink elephant.
The shot in it, it's just like this pivoting shot, right? And it's like there's a fisheye lens on it, so it looks really weird, and it's spinning between the three of them. They're just like and it's just this nightmarish, like almost like Dada imagery that's just like gorgeous, man. Like you could not. Maybe today you could make that again with the digital with anybody being able to make a movie, but like a studio movie today, nobody would have the balls to do something like that. That's just so weird. It's a weird movie,
but that's
what I love
shot.
About it. Yeah,
it's
a Raimi, exactly
pure Raimi.
Yeah, pure 100%. You watch this movie, you go, "Oh, Sam Raimi made this movie."
Yeah, nobody.
And Danny Elfman does an amazing job because there's music constantly. Like there's no point where it's like subtle. It's just bombarding you with
no. It is subtle. For important plot points, it is lowered. For when you have to know something, then they will lower it.
So, but it's like this verbose gothic soundtrack the entire time. Like it's almost like a silent movie in that regard.
All right, here's a question, and this is maybe where my blockage is coming in on, and when I'm thinking about this movie, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, like especially Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, they go over the top to make it funny, right? Like,
yes,
they started out making like a B horror movie, but there was like because of who the Chin, I can't think of his name. Campbell is. It comes off charming and funny. Chin. Yeah, that's his nickname. Everyone calls him the Chin.
Oh yeah, I mean, but you just called him that like you know him. Like he's in
I
your
have
phone
met the man and worked.
You have to earn that right, sir.
I have worked for him at conventions, so
jealous.
But so they decided to go over the top, and then by the time you get to Army of the Darkness, it's definitely slapstick comedy, right? Like it's done on purpose.
Very.
I can't tell if the over the top of this movie is done on purpose to be funny,
it is,
or if it's just to be disturbing.
Both.
Yes.
Why can't it be both?
Because Evil Dead 2 is also like that. The scene where it's just Evil Dead 2, where Bruce Campbell is having the breakdown where he's fighting the possession, right?
Yep.
And like the deer head is laughing at him and stuff like that. Like it bounces between disturbing and scary and hilarious, often within seconds, right? And it's like madness to the scene of like you're going crazy, and going crazy isn't just blah, like there's like you're up and down with fear and terror and humor and just like this malaise at points, like, and that's, I think Campbell's an underrated actor specifically because of that sequence. That's a really good sequence where he's playing off of nobody. It's just him in there playing off of puppets. Right. And I think that Liam Neeson brings the same, which again, this is a Raimi thing. This is what Raimi wants. Raimi is a director. Is very good at channeling raw and bizarre madness is a great way to put it. Raw and bizarre emotional output, we'll just say, from his actors that nobody else really does. And it never comes off like, like the scene I referenced with Liam Neeson, where he's like, "Look at the dancing freak." Like it never comes off like he's pretending to be, or
No,
he's
not
playing.
coming off cartoonish whatsoever. It's coming off as he's really losing his mind. He's
Which
not
is what
grounded by anything.
Right. That's what this movie is. It's Peyton Westlake's descent into madness. Because by the end of the movie, when he accepts the fact that he's Darkman, it's played very straight. There's no over-the-top camera work. There's nothing silly going on. It's a straight action movie at the end of it. Because the character of Peyton Westlake has accepted the fact that he is an absolute lunatic, and he's going to just be a superhero now that just fights for vengeance against evil corporate people, which I love. Right, that last sequence where he's like, "I'm Darkman." He turns around and it's Campbell. You're like, "Hey, Campbell!" It's great, Like I love this movie.
Yeah, fuck that studio. They didn't want Campbell.
Yeah,
Raimi wanted Campbell as Darkman, and they said, "We're going to get a more established actor." They didn't. They went with Neeson, but also Bill Paxton auditioned for that role.
Bill Paxton would have been really good in this role. It's a shame.
But
I like Liam Neeson, but it would have been good too.
He told Neeson about the job. He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing an audition for this movie called Darkman with Sam Raimi," And then Liam Neeson goes for to the audition. Paxton doesn't talk to him for months afterwards because he got the role.
Man.
But so to keep this to not be a actually, we're going to keep the Sam Raimi suckfest going. That's going to happen.
I have no qualms
You called the Twitter's Mr. Evil Dead on here. I'm the Raimi, chronologist or whatever that word is. I'm Mr. Raimi. Okay. So so JD talked about the madness scene in Evil Dead 2. And I always go to point out, okay, that's a really, really, really good scene. But if you want some of the best cinematography on a low shoestring budget, a descent into madness, watch the last 25 minutes of the original Evil Dead. The things that he does with the camera, flipping it around, going into weird things with the mirror and things like that. It's a real descent into madness. It gets crazier, and it keeps evolving. And then, like in every Sam Raimi movie, something grounds the main character. There's always that one little item. In Evil Dead, it was the little locket or the magnifying glass that he gave Linda. And then in Darkman, it was the pink elephant. When he saw the pink elephant, he went back to normal and then got the hell out of there. He lost the rage. Raimi films always have something that ground the heroes, if you've ever noticed that. And that's it's just a running theme in all of his movies, and I absolutely love it. Like he can get crazy, but he'll center you. He'll bring you right back in and take the film where it needs to go.
Which is what makes Raimi movies interesting, because sometimes movies are just weird for the sake of weird. And what I like about Raimi is he'll get weird, but he'll ground that plot again. And there's stuff he does in that first Evil Dead movie that he should not have been able to do as a 20-something filmmaker with a camera. Like he's pulling off camera tricks that are far beyond his experience level and far beyond his budget. Like they basically fashion a Steadicam by strapping a camera to two pieces of wood, and they're just running it through the woods. That creates that.
They also tied it to a bike.
Yeah, like he's doing just bat crazy things with that camera to achieve this look that becomes his trademark. Right. And this is what makes Raimi so great, is that no one makes movies like Sam Raimi, and a lot of it is necessity, because he just figured, I have this, this is what I have, I need to figure this out with what I got. It's the brilliance of him. We don't talk enough about how brilliant a filmmaker he is.
Yeah, we always talk about the Tim Burtons and the Spielbergs and the Carpenters, but man, Raimi is just right up there with them, man.
And Raimi's a guy who cut like a Roger Corman, cut his teeth in these super low budget movies, but unlike Corman, doesn't stay there. Like he transcends into becoming one of the best filmmakers of his generation, and it takes a long time. There's 20 years between Evil Dead and Spider-Man.
It's true.
Right? Like, and he made like For the Love of the Game. That's a romance. That's like just a romance baseball movie that's played super straight laced. Like the man is remarkably versatile, but he's always at his best. Like in Multiverse of Madness, I just loved that movie. Like, because it felt like Raimi just being unhinged Raimi for the first time in years, and something like this, quite frankly.
Yeah,
and also he had Danny Elfman come back for Multiverse of Madness, so you got that duo back together again.
You know what? It's funny. Yeah, we did talk about that when he got Elfman for Multiverse.
I was super excited. Once they had named Raimi as the director, I was super stoked. And then they're like, "Well, Danny Elfman's coming to do the soundtrack." I'm like, "Take."
And he's a definite another composer that has a sound.
Yeah,
that distinct. And, like, because
operatic.
If you if you close your eyes, you might think you're watching a Batman movie.
What's that Danny Elfman, right? Like, it's so weird
Yeah.
that none of his soundtracks sound anything like Oingo Boingo, right? Like,
Mhm.
none of his soundtracks ever like remotely sounded like what he did in the pop world. But like instead, it's this like baroque, sweeping sound to everything. Like
It's
everything
very adventurous.
yes,
Almost whimsical adventure.
Mhm.
Well, like Men in Black, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride.
Nightmare
know,
Before
he's
Christmas
like-
would be his
Batman
magnum
Returns.
opus to be. Batman Returns. Batman's
Mars-
great.
Mars
Yeah.
Attacks.
There's
Oh,
stuff I
Mars
like
Attacks,
better than
right.
others. Like I love his Batman stuff. I love his Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, that's his movie basically. Like he essentially puts that whole story together. Like that's a brilliant movie on its own. Just of what Danny Elfman did as literally as a filmmaker in that, because it's his score really sets the trend, sets the tone for that film, and sets the story for it. So this is one of the cases where he's just. Again, I compare it to Phantom of the Opera and silent filmmaking. I agree with you, Josiah. It's still my favorite Batman theme. Everything he does in this movie is so inspired by like Lon Chaney and like silent films. Like it has that vibe to it where you're just like you're watching a movie. It feels like you're watching a movie. You're going to the theater and watching just something that's way over the top and fun. And it's like the opposite of like a Michael Mann, like something super cerebral and very like, closed in and slick. Like it's the polar opposite. And they're two of my favorite filmmakers because they can do the opposite. They're like yin and yang to each other in my mind.
So they screened Darkman without the Elfman score.
Oh, I bet it would have been not as good.
No,
It was terrible. They were
Yeah.
going to almost scrap most of the film, and just it was just going to be terrible, and they were going to scrap it. And then they added in Danny Elfman 2 weeks to write that entire soundtrack.
What
by
a
the
pro.
way.
What a pro.
2 weeks, and they edited it into the movie and then showed it to the higher ups at I don't know who did this. I don't remember. Was it Renaissance? Might have
Might have
been,
been Ryan or something. Let me look that up real quick.
yeah. But they were like A-OK, okie dokie, and Raimi told Elfman, go wild.
Universal.
Okay.
Oh, it's Universal. They got a real studio. Yeah, okay.
So he told Elfman, go wild. And that's what Elfman did. And for an hour, or was what, like 83 minutes? Is that how long the movie is? 83 minutes, right?
Something like
Like
that. Yeah,
that.
it's not super long.
It's a super long Danny Elfman score, and it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that, and I think that goes back to something JD says, about filmmaking. It's not just the story. There's a lot of elements.
Mhm.
The visual medium, it is a sound medium. Like soundtrack can make or break a movie. Like
Oh, yeah.
big time.
Absolutely. We talked about John Williams earlier. Like, how is Superman as iconic a film if we don't hear that score?
Not
Right?
even
No.
close.
Is Star Wars what Star Wars is without that score? Like, if Star Wars is a disco soundtrack like they wanted, what is
Oh,
that
God.
movie? It's Buck Rogers, right?
Yeah, it's Buck
not.
Rogers.
yep.
It's Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what we think it. It's not what we think. Like music makes or breaks, which is why John gets on his we tease John about his anti-Zimmer kick, but that's why John the Zimmer stuff does not connect at all with him. But I think it works for not all of his movies. Like I don't like his Man of Steel or Batman stuff, but I like most of Zimmer stuff. I'm okay with
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
He did
was good.
Gladiator.
I like Gladiator, man.
No, I
But
meant
it's
the soundtrack.
always, but it always sounds like background music. It's never a main theme.
I don't know. You ever hear the Wonder Woman theme? Do, 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 do.
Right, but
I like. I use that Gladiator so many. I disagree with that, especially in Gladiator. I use that Gladiator track so many times when I was doing video editing because I think it's just gorgeous. Like
Yeah,
I love
especially
it. I love it
Elysium.
so much.
Elysium
Yes.
is beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly. Dave muted himself. Did you have to cough or sneeze? Did you have some gas or something?
You're not supposed to point out that I have to burp.
Oh, I thought you were sick of listening to us talk and we're trying to prove a point. So
No, I
But
would mute you guys then.
But the thing is, like, if you listen to any of those Zimmer scores, most people aren't going to remember the movie. But for most of John Williams
disagree
stuff,
with
you play one of the scores and you remember the movie exactly.
Yeah.
yeah, I can't argue.
Even non-adventure movies like Home Alone. He did Home Alone, but you always remember that Home Alone theme.
Yeah, and that's one of the lesser known ones.
Yeah,
but you
that's
still
what I mean.
remember it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and Josiah Elfman's Batman theme is the Batman theme. That's why they used it on the animated series.
Mhm.
So
We already mentioned it.
It popped up again.
Yeah, it's amazing. Man, I remember being in the theater for that one, and I heard that like when the screen goes dark, the doom.
Yep.
And it just like I remember being a little kid, and my heart was just like pounding out of its chest. Like it's just an amazing like score can do so much for a movie. Like again, I was showing The Matrix. We were doing storyboards, like script storyboard, and there's a great video about The Matrix where it did because Steve Scroce did the storyboards for it. So I was showing him like the script, the storyboard, and like that opening sequence of The Matrix, similar, just does such a great job of setting. And for that, it's that digital sound, like it just says the audio does such an amazing job of setting the tone for the film. I'm rambling now. I just love talking about film.
Yeah, but Darkman sets the tone. Like as soon as the movie starts, it's the soundtrack is on, and they're just walking around their apartment having sex. The soundtrack. Is
no! We start off with that gun scene where the guy rips the dude's leg off and starts firing the gun.
Yeah.
If that ain't Sam Raimi? I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a weird cold open, right?
Weird as hell. Weird as hell. That's
it's a very 80s cold open though.
Maybe it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods where they filmed that cold open to make you think that you were in the wrong movie theater.
No, I don't know if I think it's just a good tone because it shows us what like Durant is and what kind of world is. It's almost like a prequel to RoboCop where they're building new Detroit.
I feel that that cold opening is to set Durant up as like a mean villain or a smart villain. That's
works. I love the gimmick of him using the cigar chopper to cut off the fingers. Love that.
That was supposed to, because there's medals in the background, like on his mantle when they're in his house, and it's supposed to be that he's part of the 101st Airborne or whatever it was, the 101st Airborne. Yeah,
I did not know that.
He's supposed to be like, how they took trophies in Vietnam of the ears and shit.
Oh,
kind of like that.
Right over my head. Nice pick.
An actual thing that happened, kids.
Yeah.
Is messed up.
A play on Stark?
What?
Oh, the industrialist.
The industrialist. Is he a play on Tony Stark?
It's possible. I don't think so because I think Raimi likes that stuff. I think he might be a play on Max Schreck.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I know Raimi's a comic book fan.
I mean like the guy who played Nosferatu. I think he might have been playing with that a little bit.
Are we talking about Strack? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the character. Like I kind of wondered if because everyone knows Raimi was a comic book fan. Was it a play on that?
No. Strack was nothing but an overeager businessman. That's really all it was.
I don't see any Tony Stark in there.
An 80s businessman, basically.
Oh yeah, very much 80s business guy.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying the name seems like it was a weird homage to Stark.
Nah, I didn't feel that at all.
I didn't feel that.
Replace a couple letters.
Yeah,
take out a C.
Billionaire industrialist.
But he's
evil. Yeah, but he's evil and wasn't trying to build Iron Man wasn't trying to build a utopia.
Yeah.
In the middle of. By the way, did anybody else pick up that they were throwing that carnival in like the middle of like Crack Central?
Yes. Yes.
Because when they leave the carnival, it's nothing but abandoned buildings and warehouses and stuff like that.
Which I really because probably really cheap to shoot there. Yeah. Two, it was like I like what it says because the guy, like our villain Shrek, is trying to rebuild this clearly dump ass city, right? But he's just doing it the wrong way. It's evil. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of RoboCop. I think there's a lot of like similarities. Like I don't think this is like RoboCop's very sardonic and has a lot of like social commentary. I don't think Darkman actually does. Like I think Darkman is more kind of on the note.
Holy
shit! I think so.
I disagree. I just made a connection to something I'm thinking about.
What do you got?
The end fight scene in this movie was on a construction site.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Where was the end fight in Spider-Man 3?
Construction site.
On a construction site. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Raimi likes construction sites. Okay.
Plays the hits.
Yeah.
Sometimes play the hits. No, I think this is such a smart movie. I think this is such a smart, artsy movie, and I don't think Sam Raimi gets enough credit for being as artsy as he really is.
It was one of his forgotten films until the last maybe like 10 years. A lot of people have been rediscovering Darkman.
I'm glad. Makes me happy because I do think this. I love this as a kid. I had the Marvel adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
I had inked by Mark Teixeira, written by Ralph Macchio. So it's good, some talent working on that book. Like I loved this story as a kid because, like Dave said, like we didn't have a lot of superhero adaptations in the 80s and 90s. We had Batman, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, but
and they
Batman-
tried.
And,
But
a
Batman
couple
wasn't-
questionable Superman movies at that point.
But Batman wasn't trying to bring down the man. Yeah, he took down Max Schreck, but I mean, like,
Yeah, but this movie, he's very much bringing down the man. Like this movie, it's like it's not like RoboCop in that regard. Like this is really very much a fighting. This is a rejection of the '80s, kind of, because like the '90s really were this rejection to the '80s, and especially the early '90s. You had your grunge movements. You had a lot of fuck billionaires, fuck industrialists. We had a lot of that movie. And this movie really kind of feels that anti, 80s guy wave.
anti-establishment.
Yeah, because that villain is just complete. Like he is totally not Durant. Durant's cool. The Shrek is just like a mustache twirling, even though he has no mustache. Unapologetic '80s guy.
Yeah,
Like there's zero subtlety at all to him.
And the standard, all the cops are paid off. Everybody's, it's just like the whole system's against you, basically.
Like very much like RoboCop in that way.
Yep. Well, in a lot of 80 movies, really. That's why I asked about the rating on this, because it is like straddling 80s and 90s, and it's like it felt like an 80s PG, right? Because 80s PG is like rated R these days.
Oh no, it's rated R. It's rated R movie.
Surprised.
Yeah,
actually,
you don't push Ted Raimi's head up into oncoming traffic and let his head get squished and
yeah, but do you
R.
know how many squibs they had in RoboCop? Like,
that movie was almost rated X.
Yeah.
They had to do several edits on that movie to get the R. That was not.
I know, but
PG
it's still like I don't know if there was like some kind of revamp of the system between RoboCop and this, because this was not as bad as RoboCop. I mean,
nothing is as bad as RoboCop. That's why it's RoboCop. Like RoboCop is one of the most violent movies ever made on purpose. It's saying something.
Did Sam Raimi
it made sense.
Write that character for his brother so he could kill him off?
He writes his character and Bruce into every movie almost.
Yeah, he's a good dude to have as a friend. Robert Tapper, like they have a crew. They've worked together since the original Evil Dead movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that he brings up his friends.
Yep.
Must have been angry at Ted that day though when he wrote that scene.
Who doesn't love killing their brother? Come on.
That's true. But Ted loves it.
Oh yeah, it's a great death too. Like his head just, and again, so Phantom of the Opera. They just stick his head up, and no one stops driving. They just keep driving. There's a head right there, and they're like, "Oh, what happened to the body? Oh, we don't know."
It was almost very and we all know that Sam Raimi loves the Three Stooges. If you haven't watched Evil Dead 2, then
Sheps. They're Sheps. The mom.
But that shot was it felt very Three Stoogey to me, sticking his head out of the sewer grate. I loved it.
100%.
No, Army of the Darkness with the skeleton hands coming up out of the ground, and he's that's very Three Stooges. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Raimi loves his Stooge. He talks about
slapstick. Yep.
And he'll devolve into that at times for humor. And Campbell's so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Campbell is very good at physical comedy.
Super good at physical comedy. Always was. You ever seen Bubba Hotep?
Yes, I was about to say Bubba Hotep.
Yeah. See, Ray, that's for you and me, man. We got that.
I would have said Congo, but he was only in it for 2 seconds. So.
Congo.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Bubba Hotep?
I've never seen it.
Dave,
I know the movie. I've seen
where JFK is a
black. I've sat down and watched the whole thing.
He's okay. So he's Elvis. Campbell plays Elvis, right? But Elvis faked his own death, and he's in an old folks' home now, and a mummy is after them.
Yes.
Yep. And JFK is a black guy.
And JFK is a black guy played by Ozzie Davis.
Yeah, he got JFK's brain put into another body.
Yeah. It is brilliantly silly and
it.
Awesome. There's a chase sequence with Elvis in a walker and a mummy. And it's the slowest chase sequence in movie history. And it's
I think we're gonna have to watch this.
Damn it, that's the next movie. We're doing Bubba Hotep.
Oh my god, it's gonna.
All right, if you're still watching and you think Bubba Hotep should be the next movie, comment.
Well, it's not going to be Darkman 2 or 3, so let's get real here.
Those are not good movies.
They were fine for what
they're not
were.
Good. They're
not good.
Rainy.
But when do we ever watch good movies?
We watched a good movie today.
Yeah,
well, that's
true.
One. I've been coming onto this show for 2 years, and you finally give me a win.
You ain't wrong. We watched
next
Batman?
movies we do should be Neil Breen.
We watched Batman Returns. You guys have given me a couple softballs.
Yeah, we got some good ones.
But the ratio is off, JD.
The ratio is terrible. I'm not gonna lie. We've had some. Okay, Native Peach is like Bubba Hotep with a heart. It's settled. Thank you, Native Peach. I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate you.
That's one. That's one
homegirl.
vote and no votes for anything else. So.
That's it. We're doing Bubba Hotep. Dave's never seen it. You've never seen it. If Dave had this reaction to Darkman, I need to see his reaction to Bubba Hotep. I have to see.
He's
this.
gonna hate it.
Oh, I know. That's why I need this.
It's too realistic for John.
No, I might like it. Like
No, John
you know,
don't like it. John's the anime guy. John likes weird stuff. John don't dig this. I think Dave will hate it. That's why we have to do it.
I bet it was
really?
too realistic
Oh,
because
Dave, I
John's,
need to hear
John's
you-
about a year or two
I
away from
need
that
to hear you
retirement
talk
home with
about this
Elvis.
movie.
if it's Campbell, I like it. It's Campbell. I'll turn my brain off for Campbell. I mean, come on.
Oh, I know you watched Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I did. It's still not a great movie, but you know.
I had such hope for that one too. Even Sam Raimi's like,
Yeah.
I feel like the whole problem was because they forced the
Venom.
symbiote.
Yeah.
Venom. And
They wanted AVR had wanted that Venom. That's the thing, dude. Is like Sam Raimi loves the '60s Marvel, and they were trying to do '90s Marvel. Like you said,
Yep.
there's different eras. You know,
He really didn't have too much control in Spider-Man 3. That was mostly a studio thing. He was
very
doing it big.
obvious.
I feel like they should.
Spider-Man 2 is the masterpiece, and we all know it.
I think they should have let him, like, if they wanted Venom, they should have let him plant seeds and built to it instead of the way that we were given.
He didn't plant it.
Yeah, he didn't want it. That's why. I mean, that's why.
Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't want Venom.
He didn't get Venom, right? Because again, he was a fan of the '60s. And he's
He
like, what
wanted
is this?
Kraven. I think he wanted Kraven the Hunter. I think, and they were like, "No, we want Venom."
He gave us a good Sam. I remember when they casted Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman. I'm like, why is it Sandman? But he actually did a pretty good job. And I
Lloyd
actually
from
enjoyed.
Wings.
I enjoyed Thomas Hayden Church's return as a Sandman in No Way Home.
No Way
No
Home.
Way Home. I
Too
can never
many
keep them
homes.
straight. Yeah, I can never keep them straight. But yeah, Bubba Hotep. Done.
All right. Well,
How many
you know what?
How many weeks are we gonna give us to watch it? You want to do it next week? You want a couple weeks? Ray says 3 weeks. I don't know why. but
Give him some time to breathe, guys. We just gave him Darkman.
True.
True.
We already gave him the best of the year. This is already episode of the year.
Oh my god.
I love this movie so much.
Just because you shit on it, Dave.
I love it
All
so
right.
much.
Hey, Dave,
All right,
let me ask you a
okay,
question.
hold
Hold on. No, I want to ask you a question, Mr. Narcissist Host Man. Did you like Dick Tracy? Did you like the movie Dick Tracy?
I have not seen that movie in a really long time.
That was a really stylized movie. Like,
Did you like it?
and I don't remember. The scene I only remember is the scene with Mumbles when he records them and then he plays the tape slow.
Oh no, I always remember
like-
the scenes with Madonna when she's talking about peach ice cream and how he should lick a peach, something like that. She was very sexualized in that movie. That was not meant for children.
Well, Warren Beatty made the movie.
True point.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like Warren Beatty movies were an excuse for him to meet.
But we're
other-
talking about a stylized and a certain like aesthetic, like a tone.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy,
has
Darkman is the way over Dick Tracy. That's the point I'm getting at. If you like Dick Tracy, I don't know how you don't like Darkman.
I don't like Dick Tracy, and I love Darkman. Maybe because I don't know. I don't have a connection to Dick Tracy at all in the movie.
I do.
I don't have.
That's the problem. I read Dick Tracy growing up. I still
didn't.
have a bunch of comments. Oh, okay.
I didn't read Dick Tracy, and like it just seemed to me like Warren Beatty and his friends are being silly and wearing masks. I just never got into it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not for everybody.
All right, so to try to couple questions to try to bring this to an end. First thing is
Mercy killing.
First question
Yeah.
is, what was your favorite part of this movie? Let's go around. Let's start with 8.
Go with-
Betray.
No, go with John first. I got a lot of scenes to process.
I'm same thing. I'm like,
All right,
What
John.
is the
what was your
best part of
favorite
this movie?
the
I need a minute.
I don't know, like the best scene or the best part. Like, I think that for me, like the best part was like seeing. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen this, and I had forgotten that it was Liam Neeson, and seeing him play the crazy parts, and I just he did a really good job of playing those crazy parts, and just the character of Darkman himself. That's what I think is the best part of it. I mean,
he's always so stoic in his movies. You're right. It was
Yeah.
fun to see him kind of cut loose a little bit and be.
oh
a little,
yeah.
Pacino it up a bit.
I have a particular set of skills. Anyway.
Acting.
All right.
That's
Yes.
his skill.
Mhm.
All right. JD, you got an answer?
I love that ending, man. I love that ending where Peyton Westlake accepts the fact that he is not who he thought he was, and he is Darkman. Like I just love how he really pulls in the performance, right? Because he's so over the top, and he's not over the top there, and he's not in the hat and the bandages. He just has the messed up face, and he's just like, this is what I am now. And he's just like, there's a confidence in it and an acceptance and a somberness to the way he delivers it, like an inevitability. I am Darkman. I just, man, it's such good. He shouldn't have been this good in this movie as he is, right?
No,
He should not have had this good of an actor in it and delivering such a good performance that's so underrated. I love the ending.
Do you think if Campbell had been in it, it would have been this good?
No,
Like-
no. Different movie.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Bruce, but I think that this character, the humanization of Peyton, was not meant for Bruce Campbell. I'm sorry, it didn't need to be over exaggerated. It needed to be humanized.
It would have come off more comedic if Campbell did it.
Yeah.
I think he would have done a great job, but I don't think he would have done as good a job as Liam Neeson did.
84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
84. That's the critics, right? What's the
audience? The critics score is 84%. The audience score is 59. I don't think a lot of people get this movie. You know,
They don't. It's for a select audience.
Yeah, it's
really
not
is.
a blockbuster. You know, but it did well.
It was very heavily promoted as
was.
a superhero film. Back in the day.
It is
What do
so
I love
weird.
about this movie?
Just one thing. It is so weird that normally in a movie like this, the audience rating is higher, and it's the critics that are like, we don't like these kinds of movies.
Ebert
It's
loved
so
this movie.
weird that they are 84% and the audience score is lower.
I think I could see a
So
lot of people,
weird.
especially in 1990, not really getting it. You know, and being like, "What is this?" Because it's
Yeah,
a weird.
but the reviewers never really get these. Kinds of
But
movies.
Dave's like got a good point. Dave's like, I don't know what this movie's trying to be, and the answer is a freaking weird ass Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah.
But if you're not on board with that, I could see it being a turnoff.
Yeah, sorry,
like,
sorry,
nerds
Ray, I
like
didn't
us-
mean to jump in, but-
Right, you know. Ray's still debating which part he's going to choose.
It's not even a part. It's just the overall film as a whole.
Mhm.
I think I love movies that have a descent into madness, right? I
Mhm.
really love The Shining. JD, you know, we could talk about The
Oh, yeah.
Shining forever.
We did
But
once.
that's true. That descent into madness is always appealing to me because it really brings forth like the human nature of everything about it. So you have Liam Neeson, who has a very happy life, a beautiful girlfriend, and it's taken from him because of some corporate bullshit.
Mhm.
One, that gives us the entire plot of the movie. That's the whole motivation. That's the MacGuffin. That's what we're after, to bring the corporation down that took your life from you, right? And a bunch of silliness ensues. I mean, he is blown up and blown into the air, into the river. I don't know how you go up and over, but you know, you did. There's a whole bunch of craziness to it. But there's also a flow to it that I really like, that other superhero movies, and I don't even want to call this a superhero movie. I really don't. What would you guys call it?
It's more of
like-
a horror movie.
No, it's a bunch of things. It's an amalgamation of a bunch of shit.
It's a pulp movie, right?
It's a pulp horror
It's a pulp
action
movie.
comedy. I don't even know what
It's
it
a
is.
lot. There's
It's
a lot.
beautiful.
going on. Mhm.
It's beautiful. is
It's
what it
Raimi.
is.
I mean, he's
That's what
a dark
it is.
hero,
Like,
right? He's a
It's
dark
like it's like
character.
you know how Dr. Pepper is like 22 different flavors, but it's fucking delicious. That is Darkman. Darkman is Dr. Pepper. All the
Who el-
characters are great in it. Huh?
Who else but Raimi could make a movie that was all
Nobody
different
could.
things
Nobody.
at the same time? Yeah.
Not one director in Hollywood then, now, or in the future can do it.
This
Sorry.
is a uniquely Raimi film. No one else could make it, and it's appropriate. He wrote it. You know, it's his movie.
He wrote it. He directed it. I mean, yeah, it's an homage film at the same time, to throw it in with that blend of all the different things. Like, it's a great fucking movie that I've been recommending to people forever. And when you guys said we're going to talk Darkman, I was just like, I love it. I love it because I like to spread the word about underrated and good movies. So talking about Darkman is a perfect fit, I think, for this show because one, we have diversity over here from Negative Dave. Old man Grady likes it, you know, and JD is, you know, he's with me per usual.
Yeah. Mikey doesn't like anything. I mean, O'Grady doesn't like anything.
No, Grady does not like anything. But
Oh,
he
John and I
likes
have gone to
Darkman.
battle on stuff. Like, yeah.
I know, which is weird. I normally like the stuff that you, but anyway.
But
I
it's,
will say that again, like the movie's not believable, but that doesn't matter. I like the fact that he works by himself.
Mm-hmm. And the
that
way he works, he has the bad guys.
He's methodical and he's smart.
You're getting it. You're closer, Dave. You're going to understand this movie soon.
I didn't say I hated it. I just said that it's very much a product of its time.
You were so close.
And when you look at it through a 2023 lens, it's just like a little hard to take at points.
I like movies that feel like their era. Like I said, I've come on the show and defended Manhunter up and down. That thing reeks of 1986. I think it's part of the charm of movies. Like, again, we talked about Gone with the Wind earlier. Gone with the Wind feels like a movie made in 1939 because it was, right? I like that about movies. I like watching a movie and feeling an era, right? Art is reflected by the era in which it's created. Like, all art is disseminated from what is going on in our minds and what is going on in the world at the time. And I think that's what makes something like this work. I mean, you have timeless things like, yeah, sure, Star Wars can achieve a timelessness, but that's rare. And I think that's what makes Star Wars special.
True. I think you can argue, well, maybe not. 89 Batman, in some ways, are a product of its time, but at the same time,
I think it's a product. I think Batman is definitely a product.
It is.
But they try to do things to not set it in 1989. Like,
no, they tried their best to set it up in like 1932 noir with the giant buildings and
but there's
gargoyles.
Also computers and stuff like that. Like Batman, the Batman movies are a weird thing unto themselves. I think it's easier to achieve a timelessness when you set a movie in the past, like Indiana Jones. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's harder not to date yourself when the movie takes place in the now, because what is in the now is always changing, right?
Right.
All right.
I mean, Blade Runner was supposed to be this year. I'm just saying.
I ain't got no replicants, man.
Nope. Well, we're close. They got sex spots.
Now the difficult question for the sex box enthusiasts in the room.
Be right.
Who told you, Dave?
Movie?
I'm lonely, bro.
You could go first, JD. Something you didn't like about. Oh, there's got to be something.
Oh, something I didn't like about this movie. Some of the special effects have aged poorly. A lot of the green screen work. I don't know if it's my eye or just like I think it's something. Oh, that didn't age very well. In 1990, it's fine. Again, $14 million in 1990 is not a huge budget. It's the biggest budget Raimi had worked with at the time. Still not a big budget. So some of the chroma key isn't great. But I can accept, I did stand out to me, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look very good. But again, you have to buy the era and the money you have, so that's it. I mean, as far as like the story and stuff goes, like, do I wish there was some more character work in the script? Yeah, a little bit. But Raimi's not a writer, right? He's an artist, so I accept art for.
Okay, just in comparison, the budget for Dick Tracy was $47 million.
Warren Beatty's writing checks to his friends. Like, I bet a lot of that went to the cast.
No, probably. But I mean, I'm just in comparison, 14 million to 47 million.
Do you have that?
I might.
All right, while he's looking it up, John, what's something you didn't like about the movie?
162 million, almost 163 million, rounded off.
Wow,
that's pretty good
for
1990.
I can't think of anything that I really didn't like about this.
If I can think of one thing, you can think of a couple.
I don't know. I mean, I would go with the same thing that JD says. Like, some of the stuff aged a little bit, but like the makeup worked really good.
Makeup's good.
But there's that one scene where he gets blown out of the building, though.
Yeah.
That's
which
like,
time?
They show that, like, when somebody talks about Darkman, they usually show that scene, and that is a really bad green screen. Yeah. But then you look at the effects that they did for the computer when it was forming the light constructs of the facial features. They must have blown a lot on that, Well,
you got to remember the cost of industrial light and magic back in the day was very costly for only big budget movies, say like your Jurassic Parks or I don't know, something of that nature. Hiring them, it's costly, and there's a waiting list. So sometimes you have to go to the B team.
Oh yeah.
So if it looked like shit, it looked like shit for a reason. But it also had that Raimi charm.
Well, whoever did it was really good at generating like whatever passed for CGI back then, but not green screens. You know?
Green screen can be tough, man. Like it's not.
Yeah.
We've got it. They've gotten it figured out now. But I mean, like in '90, it's tough.
I'll tell you, the one thing I did not like about this movie is it didn't have a bigger budget. There you go.
Yeah,
I don't think it needed it.
I don't either, but I think it could have helped with some of the special effects.
It probably could have helped with some of the special effects, but I think it would have taken away from some of the style.
It's possible
if they had put too much money into it.
Yeah,
They would
I
have
know.
taken the
Like
easy road out.
Corman's best work is when he's really constrained. You know,
Corman's
like
only
a lot of these guys are. Yeah.
Okay, Ray.
Something I didn't like about the movie is that we never got the unedited version that the studio pulled. So there was an extra 20 minutes with more character development and things and story to it. Yeah, but we never got it.
I would like to have
would've
seen
helped.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. But the studio said we need to shorten the runtime, and Raimi fought it the best he could, but
Still didn't have a lot of power.
Danny Elfman actually backed him with that. They said, okay, so they took out 20 minutes of scenes, and then they secretly, hold on. So Danny Elfman and Sam Raimi said, look, you either do this or I'm taking my soundtrack with me. Elfman was like backing Raimi. And they secretly added a couple of those scenes back into the movie, but it wasn't the full cut. That's the only thing I don't like.
This is a Danny Elfman fresh off of Batman, too.
Yeah.
This is Danny Elfman had with the most power. He's had the movie of a generation under his belt at this point.
Yep.
All right.
So that's the only thing I don't like is that it wasn't long enough. I want to see the cut.
There's a better movie out there. There's a movie. Like I said, my biggest complaint is I think there's a lack of character development.
Well, it was there.
Yeah,
because this movie just roll. I mean, from start to finish, it just rolls.
Running.
There is no break at all, really.
And that's
no wasted film.
That would be my main criticism, and I agree with you guys. Like, some of it feels herky jerky because they didn't breathe.
I get it.
You know, and I've seen Sam Raimi breathe in movies. You know, I mean, maybe an older, more mature Raimi in some of his later films. I don't know, but
and he's probably like 30 in this movie came out. You know, he's still a pretty young man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like a little more character development for Durant and not Durant, Peyton.
No, you want character development on Durant, you got to watch the sequel.
Die,
The Return of Durant.
The Return of Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Die, Darkman, die.
Great
Great subtitle, by the way. Darkman 3, Die, Darkman, die. Terrible movie. Great subtitle.
Sam Raimi is 63 years old.
Yeah.
Holy
What was
moly.
what you call it? Who played Darkman in the sequels?
Arnold Vasulu in the second. He Imhotep himself, and then Jeff Fahey.
Oh, okay.
He of the direct-to-video film.
There was they were going to turn this into a TV series, guys. They filmed the pilot, but the studio has said we will never release that pilot. So you're never gonna see the pilot. It must have been terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? What about you, Dave? Are you a fan of it now that we've talked about it a little bit?
Have we sold you?
I look, I'm not.
You came in here looking to take a big steamy shit on my movie, and I just want to know the reasons why I'm getting rained on.
I wasn't going to take a shit on the movie. I just was trying to balance the conversation a little bit. You know, like sat around sucking on Raimi's.
Because I came in,
easy, we're on YouTube.
Because I came into the show going, "This movie is amazing!" Like before we even started the show.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
I know. I like.
We can all. I want you to be honest with yourself, Dave. I don't want you to worry about what the viewers want.
Yeah.
If you like something, say you like it. Be proud.
I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time watching older movies and thinking like, "Oh, this feels like it's such of its time."
There's a lot of you're not alone in it. There's a lot. I'm not one of those people, but there's a lot of people that feel that way about watching older movies.
Yeah, I got a friend that can't watch black and white movies. She's old movies.
Go watch. If you don't like black and white movies, go see Citizen X. Or if you think older movies are bad, go watch.
There's lots of good older.
Max Dugan Returns. Like there are some.
Do you think in 20 years we'll look back on Winter Soldier and go, "Oh my God, that's such a movie of its time. It doesn't work."
No, because James Bond movies are timeless, and that's essentially a James Bond movie.
That
It
is.
is.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know. Who cares? Like, I almost don't care if people look back. I think all art should be viewed in the context in which it was created, right? Like, pop art was a thing of the 50s and 60s. Like, you have to
Yeah.
kind of imbibe it and what it was. Like, Andy Warhol painted a soup can. It's
I
genius,
know.
but I mean, it's times like it's a fucking soup can. But you have to get why he did it. It is what I mean. Like I said, it doesn't. I like feeling art that was like, you could tell. Like, I like listening to grunge music because it's clearly that only could have came out in like 1991.
That's why I'm wearing the flannel. All right, let's.
Let
Thought it was
go.
Laundry Day.
I think we've talked about this movie enough.
I'm good.
I don't think we talked about it enough, but if you want to wrap,
I could have a Darkman podcast, quite frankly.
All right. Well, let's
have the time
wrap
and
it up
inclination.
because we're at the 2-hour mark and Joey's probably sleeping already.
Wow.
Oh no, Joey complains about the length of our podcast all the time.
especially when I'm on here. Wrap it up.
All right, so let's wrap it up. Let's go around and see if anyone has recommendations or did you learn something on the podcast this week? And of course, we'll start with our good friend Ray, and you can also plug your podcast.
I plugged that thing earlier. But what did I learn this week? I learned that I'm not alone in the Darkman fandom. That I have friends. Dave, you can be my friend.
I thought I was your friend.
You were till you shit on Darkman.
Oh,
You'll earn it back. Don't worry. When we watch Bubba Hotep. What did I really learn? That they are selling the Darkman trilogy on Blu-ray for $12 on Amazon.
That's a deal, man. That's a deal.
Done.
give us the extra 20 minutes with HD, and I will pay $30 for that. It's
No, $12.96.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, that's a great price. Even you get Darkman, this great movie, and then you get 2 sequels
That are there.
They are there.
All right. How about you, JD?
I learned this movie holds up, and I still liked it because I haven't seen it in 20 years probably. And I was very pleased. Sometimes you watch an older movie and you're like, oh man, this isn't as good as I remember. Teen Wolf, basically. I got my kid all eager to watch Teen Wolf. We're gonna watch Teen Wolf. 15 minutes, I'm like, God, this sucks. Like, so I did not have that experience today. It aged better than I was expecting, quite frankly.
It did. Yeah.
I usually
Any
watch this.
recommendations?
I usually watch this movie about once every 2 to 3 years.
I'm going to from now on.
Good job.
Any recommendations?
I didn't get to do anything cool this week, so no,
Okay.
nothing.
Too busy wrestling.
We watched Puss in Boots again at home. Puss in Boots 2 rules. I can't say enough good things about it. It's so good. It has no right being as good as it is. John, you have to, as an anime fan, they delve into some anime like influences at various points in the movie. I really want your thoughts on this movie at some point. I think you'll
Okay.
like it.
I'll make a note
All
of it. I'll watch it this week.
John.
Yeah, go see this movie. Like popcorn. This is a popcorn thing. Grab a bag of popcorn. Do this. As far as me learning anything, I'm too old to learn anything. And my recommendations, because since you guys handle like all the regular stuff, I handle the anime. So they're out of the many really good anime this season, the winter season. There is one that I fully recommend. Like even if you haven't done any anime yet, this might be a good one to start with. And here's a title for you, JD: The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady.
God, I love Japan.
I know.
I love the culture. I love it. I adore it.
But this one's got heart. Like there are very few that actually like grab. Like a lot of them are just entertaining and stuff, but this one has got real heart to it. It makes you feel things for the characters.
I like it.
This is a good one to start with.
I won't ever watch
know-
it, but I appreciate it.
I know you don't have time.
John, it's weird. I saw it was somewhere playing in the theaters was the time I got reincarnated as a slime. I didn't.
I'm gonna go see it tomorrow.
Oh my god! I was shocked. I'm like, that's in the theaters.
Yeah, no, anime is starting to make inroads in the theaters, like in the U.S. Like there was Demon Slayer Mugen Train,
Dragon Ball Z Broly, Dragon Ball Superhero,
and the latest Bleach.
Yeah.
And they're making boku bucks, man, like huge piles of money. So like Mugen Train like broke records, so it worldwide. So like we're not talking chump change anymore, and we're gonna see more of them later.
All right, cool. Let's see. I will recommend you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, and comic book reviews by our good friend Kristen. Actually, just Wasp #1 review just went up this past weekend, so go check that out if you haven't read it yet. I learned that my friendship with Ray is contingent on
Over.
I like.
OVA. Over.
Ow! I mean, see if he ever gets invited back onto this podcast.
I got a Bubba Hotep. I'm already scheduled.
We have deep cuts, and we cut deep.
Exactly, man. I'm hurting, Ray. I'm crying in the inside.
We'll talk about it.
You know what? I'll recommend the movie that I saw.
Darkman.
I want to dance with somebody.
Yes.
If you're a fan of Whitney Houston, I think Naomi Ackie does a great job portraying her. The movie's centerpiece, like all these movies, there's a centerpiece of like one of their famous performances. The centerpiece on this is her American Music Awards performance where she did a melody of 3 songs. It's one of the greatest vocal performances of all time, and it's really good. She does a great job portraying that. So go check that out. And on that note, as always, oh wait, I'm sorry. We're getting last minute comments here. Deep cuts and what did he say?
Squandered of riches.
Thanks for that. You know, Randy, if you were here, you could help defend me a little bit. All right. On that note, as always, thanks for watching or listening. Don't let your cape go out the door.
Unless you're Darkman. Then you get your coat caught in the